Hello, everybody. We technical difficulties on the starting song. You guys didn't get to hear my intro song. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we missed that. That's toe tapping.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Brandy. Everybody say hello to Brandy.
Hello. And anyone from my channel, say hello to Teresa. Make sure to give her a follow as well.
Yes, and follow Brandy. And Phoenix is here. Just so you know, she's our mod, so she's in there helping us out. So anyways, okay, I'll try to get back on track here. That I always get thrown off a little bit when my intro goes south. Did you guys watch Candace? Tell me in the chat, did you just finish watching Candace? What did you think?
I did.
Are you looking? You did. I did too. I was listening as I was trying to get ready and all of that. So the debate, are you going to watch the debate?
Sorry, I was looking at, I'm trying to still figure out how to look at my chat on mine.
Can you see?
I don't know.
We're trying to figure this out, guys. So, okay. Yep. Chuck, you saw you looking forward to the debate. You're going to watch the debate.
Okay,
Hello,
cool.
Brandy. There you go.
I can see mine now.
Yeah, you see the paper clip thingy clip.
Oh, that's what that means. Paper clip.
Yeah.
Got it. See, still new to figuring all this out.
Yeah,
from Japan. That's cool.
So I really, okay, let's reset. Intro. Teresa, better life. Okay, it's a better life. I'm glad you could make it. We decided to go on together so that we could talk about Brandy Zadrozny. Wait, how do you say her name? Every time I have to look
Brandy
it up again.
Zadrozny. I hate that she has the same name as me.
I know, every time, but at least it's spelled differently.
Yes.
Welcome in, guys. Please hit the thumbs up on the channels. Please, if you haven't subscribed to Brandy, subscribe on her channel and hit the heart, and let's get to it. So, yeah, Brandy's MSNOW report. Tell me in the chat who saw the report. Am I blurry?
You are on my end, but I didn't know if it was just my internet because my internet's really bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with mine. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it'll clear up. Don't know what's going on with that one, but God bless you. Maggie said bless you because you sneezed.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyway, so I saw the interview and I about died and I'm like, okay, we interviewed her outside the courthouse when we were there at the Tyler Robinson hearing. So she started actually talking to Billy, right? She sat down next to Billy, and didn't you guys say she did a hit piece on Billy a while ago? Was that her?
So she was standing outside the courthouse, and I looked at her because I'd previously talked to her, I think the day before. And then she came up to me and Billy, and well, I think it was me and you and Elizabeth first, and then Billy came later. Or did Brandy not walk up to us until Billy was there? I can't remember.
Yeah, she came when Billy was sitting there.
Okay. So then, yeah, she came up to us. She wrote a piece about me and Billy being conspiracy theorists. I don't fully remember the article. This was like months and months ago when Billy and I first started our Brandy and Billy channel. I can't recall exactly what she said, but Trigger Smart told Billy and I about this piece and said that she was calling us conspiracy theorists, basically. And I was kind of just like, whatever. And then she reached out to Billy individually, reached out to me individually, and just kind of asked us why we stopped doing our podcast. And Billy didn't really care to talk to her. I didn't really care to talk to her because I just know that these mainstream media news outlets just want to write hit pieces about us. Clearly, that's true. But when she came up to us in line for the courthouse, I thought she was being nice, I was very reluctant on speaking to her, but I thought she was a nice seeming person. I just couldn't believe some of the things that she was saying, like how she was saying, and I know we're going to play the recording, but I believe she said that she doesn't believe in any conspiracy theories, maybe besides the pharmaceutical one. And yeah, just some of the things she was saying, I just found very odd. I'll just say that.
Yeah, well, so when you guys said she did a hit piece on Billy and you, that's when I jumped in and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to start asking her questions then because I could see you guys were like not trusting of her, and I didn't know. Like, I'm kind of new to this, so I didn't know her, but I was like, okay, well, how about let's turn it around on you, and then so we asked her questions. We talked to her for about 30 minutes, and then I stepped away, and Elizabeth spoke to her a while too. But let's play this MSNOW reporter. So this is the promo. Sorry, you guys, if it's still blurry on my end. I'm afraid to hit refresh because I'm afraid I'll lose you guys. So we'll try to deal with the blurriness. Is it still blurry?
No, not on my end.
Okay. Hopefully it cleared up. Okay. So here's the promo that they did. So Brandy put out Brandy Z.
Yeah, let's call her Brandy Z.
Brandy Z put out her video, and then there was a promo afterwards. So let's just take a look at that promo. And share. Okay. And we'll look at that together. In theory.
In theory, we will eventually.
Okay, here we go.
Every day, it seems to me, I encounter some new example of the degree to which completely insane conspiracy theories have consumed huge swaths of the American right. We've reached the point where many right-wing figures themselves have started freaking out about the ecosystem that's been built, that they've helped build. And one of the most high-profile examples of this pattern is the impenetrable web of conspiracy theories that have grown up around the killing of right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk. MSNOW senior enterprise reporter Brandy Zadrozny has been following the growth of right-wing conspiracies for years, and today she's out with the first installment of her new digital...
Yeah, he calls it a series, and
because I think you were the person to tell me it was going to be a series, and so I'm like, oh gosh, is she going to do like a deep dive into all of us? Like, who knows?
I don't think so, but it's weird. It's weird that, so if she's doing this for TPUSA and she's been sort of an enemy of TPUSA and Charlie, so why would she, be working with them or for them now doing this? And, if they are partnering, then it's only a matter of time before she turns back against them. So I don't know. I'll get your guys' opinion in a minute here.
I want to start maybe with just describe, because, obviously it was a horrible thing that happened and it was a huge news story and we saw it and it was actually on film, which you start out by sort of comparing the Zapruder film and how that doesn't stop anything. The fact that it's on film, in fact, probably facilitates it. How quickly and how large this conspiracy theory or the theory started to kind of grow up and take hold?
Yeah, we started out because the Zapruder film, what's interesting about that is that it was 12 years after John F. Kennedy was shot that video was made widely available. And it really did sort of spark a new just brand of conspiracy theory. Everybody was watching every moment of it, dissecting it. And it really did sway a lot of opinion when you look at public polling. Now, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or with the killing of Charlie Kirk, it was immediate. And not only was it immediate, it was pushed into the feeds. The algorithms, especially of X, served it up to people who did not want to see it at all. And it started playing immediately. And, we've talked about just how sort of immune we've gotten, a lot because of social, to some of this violence that we see on a constant basis. But people saw that immediately, and just people went to work right away. Like I think of it as a machine powered up. And people started taking the clips they were getting and immediately looking at them for what was wrong or what was out of place or what seemed off, trying to figure out, at the beginning, some trying to figure out, what had actually happened, right? That's a normal thing that normal people do. It's called collective.
It's normal. So we're normal a little bit, she says.
Sense making, academics call it. But then almost just as immediately, something else started. And it's this wide range, this huge group of conspiracy theorists that live online and make a living online started to dissect it and come up with these really insane theories.
Yeah, I want to just play another clip about how everyone in the video immediately starts to become a suspect, and also just how dangerous this is, right? You've got people like, identifying random people on video as like possible murderers or co-conspirators, and like they can have their lives blown up and destroyed. But take a look at this clip as you sort of walk through some of this.
Internet sleuths treated every person in the crowd as a potential suspect or co-conspirator.
We need to look into these umbrella boys, like these boys that showed up and were like huddling under an umbrella.
The content came so fast.
Okay, did you catch that? I'll show you in slow motion. The security guy in the blue and Charlie's bodyguard in the tent looked at their watch simultaneously.
There was a significant number of young men wearing maroon shirts.
First here, then here, then here, then it hits the back of his skull.
They all became side characters in an alternative theory. People who call themselves citizen journalists took the videos from multiple angles, slowed them down, and zoomed in to dissect and analyze facial expressions and hand movements from the growing
Brandy and Billy
list of crowdsourced suspects,
honored to be there,
and mark them up with red circles and arrows that together are supposed to add up to something. Same as the JFK conspiracy theorists, just working much, much faster and chasing the instant payouts from social media platforms.
On that last line,
do you love her face?
How good was this for
hers?
Brandy Z's.
Oh, I was about to say, because I rolled my eyes at that part. I was like, okay.
Myself, even when I see them, I'm like, oh, what's this? How good was this for traffic, particularly for Candace Owens, who I think was like the #1 sort of promulgator, but for all of the folks doing this?
Yeah, so at the beginning of this, in September, I started, it was a week before Candace Owens started saying that is.
Okay, so let's see, I'll play this other clip for you that we have of the Charlie Kirk, of what she says on the report itself. Let's see. Okay.
Partners in this group project to figure out what actually happened on September 10th.
Candace sits atop a network of online creators who feed off, amplify, and ultimately make money off each other. I mapped it out like this. Every time Candace referred to another creator or piggybacked on their content, I put them on a list. Then I watched their content, and when they referred to another creator's theory or piggybacked on that, I put that person on the list too. It's not complete, but I think it's a useful data set for understanding this network. The creators on this list are podcasters, legal experts, gun enthusiasts, social media influencers, and a few people who really came out of nowhere. Each have their own pet theory. This decentralized media landscape is how influencers collaborate, how they build an audience, and how they are monetizing a complex new conspiracist universe. Okay, so imagine that Candace Owens is the sun.
Wait, imagine Candace Owens is the sun.
So ridiculous. God.
Oh
and what are we? I'm a planet.
We're planets. Baron's the moon. Baron's the moon. We got to figure out what planet everybody is.
I'd love to know.
She provides the gravitational pull that keeps the entire Who Killed Charlie Kirk universe alive. Her YouTube channel alone sits at 6 million subscribers. Every episode gets at least 1 million views, and each post is a growth spurt for her channel and the smaller ones that she mentioned. You've got Ian Carroll, a conspiracy theorist and filmmaker known for blaming 9/11 on the Jews, and who early on blamed Israel for Kirk's death.
You would normally not think to look at Israel, which is like, Charlie is like the biggest Israel supporter ever. But when you understand the circumstances and the context, they immediately become the most likely.
Jimmy Dore, a stand-up comedian.
Okay, now I'm going to go to the one that really made me mad. Okay, so this one, John was here. We'll play this first. 32.
Oh, when they talk about John Bray and how
Yes.
he's just a farmer, and she forgets to talk about, or do you want me not to say this and wait till we play it?
Yeah, let's play it first.
Okay.
32. Let's go. Okay, here we go.
I'm not out to be a new media star, he said. Even the creators with tiny audiences can hit gold. John Bray, that guy with the farm and the exploding mic theory, his tiny channel has a link to support this work that goes to his Blue Mountain Farm website. In early December, he starts to appear on some of the bigger truther shows, like this one from a guy who goes by the handle Trigger Smart. The next day, Baron Coleman covers the Bray theory.
I think he's onto something here.
And then Candace gives him a shout out.
I have seen John Bray and the work that he's doing. I find it to be very compelling as well. And I have been communicating with him behind the scenes.
For John and his farm, a small miracle, a massive influx of orders and messages.
No one could have ever guessed the variables that have come together to sort of allow us to now be known really worldwide. Lately, we've had so many requests for people wanting our products across the globe.
You might have picked up that I'm not trying to debunk Candace or the creators in her orbit. Most of them rest on this overwrought innuendo and...
Wait, did anybody pick that up, that she's not trying to debunk Candace or anybody else in her orbit?
I mean, yeah, when I heard that, I was like, okay. But you're calling us unhinged. She literally used the word unhinged conspiracy theorists. But okay, Brandy with the Y. Okay.
Yeah, we got you. Okay.
String theories that either can't be disproved because they never state a real claim or take enormous energy to disprove. And for those, there's little payout because by the time you do, they're on to their next storyline. It follows Brandolini's law, coined back when Twitter was good, that says the amount of energy needed to refute both.
Okay. We have enough of you.
There's so many Brandys. Brandolini, Brandy with a Y, Brandy with an I. Like my name, just stay out of it.
Just keep our names out of your mouth. Brandy Z. Yeah. So that's the part that really made me mad. John's such a nice guy, and he's just out there. You know, okay, the other thing that made me angry is that she talked to other experts who debunked his theory, you know, the sound and all of that he put in, and really made him sound stupid. She was trying to make him sound stupid. And then these experts said they didn't want to put too much time into it because they didn't want to waste their time. Well, that tells me, well, then you didn't actually look into the theory enough. You didn't do your due diligence, except you already had your mind made up going in and said, it can't be done.
Right. And they completely forgot to leave out the fact that he's not just a farmer. He also has a background in body armor and explosives. That's how he even got into it. Because originally the theory was that the bullet ricocheted off of Charlie's bulletproof vest and went into his neck. And so he looked into that and then realized he wasn't wearing a bodyproof or bulletproof vest. So that's how he even went down this rabbit hole. But she just forgot to casually, put that in there. Just calls him a farmer that's grifting off of the money that he's getting from YouTube views, which if he has a business and he has a website, and people find it, that's fine. If people want to buy his products, it's fine to support people that you like.
Right. And he was doing that before he was doing this.
100%. Yeah.
And she talks about the network. So this is the other thing that we promote one another. First of all, we support one another when we're not fighting. When I say we, I say global the infighting that happens sometimes with content creators. But we network with one another. We help one another just like she does. She does the same thing. She networks in her industry and makes connections. MSNOW promoted her video. What do you call that? She made her report and then MSNOW promoted it.
Right. And it's not like she's not getting paid for making a hit piece about us. Right. And then she's calling people out that are doing this out of good faith. And if you happen to make money along the way, well, that's okay. Do you know how many hours people are spending doing this and doing this research and reporting on it? It's not just an easy, oh, let's just repeat what Candace Owens says. So many people do deeper dives into this and spend hours and hours and hours of their day. And if they make money off of it, like, I don't think that that's a problem. Brandy Z is making money.
Exactly. And bonuses.
All the Fox News reporters are making money. The news stations are making money because they run ads. Oh no, Baron Coleman, he doesn't run ads, but he does super chats. Candace Owens runs ads. Why is that a big deal? She's been running ads since before Charlie was even assassinated. So I'm confused.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say something, to the making money point. I was going to say something and it went out of my head because my camera froze up a little bit. If you guys are having trouble, sorry about that. But yes, making money, they didn't mention, the fact that it takes so long to get to the point of even breaking even in this industry. You have to work so hard and you have to have grit and you have to stick to it. You have to have passion. You have to believe in what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to go away and you're not ever going to get to that point. So it takes so long. What happened with Baron? First of all, he grinds daily, day in and day out. And that's unusual for him to rise like he did. But look at how many hours he spends online. But she was making it a good portion of the amount of time that he spends, amount of money, or the length of his streams he spends reading super chats. And the way she talks about it, because people are sending him money and sending him tips. She tips her waiters. She tips people in an industry that provide a service and entertainment to her hair care. Somebody mentioned her haircut. She tipped somebody for that haircut and that dye job, so it's not an unusual thing. So the fact that she's sitting there trying to make it dirty is disgusting to me. That part is disgusting.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think someone's commented about Baron's text messages with her. I don't know if you saw, did you watch Baron's episode yesterday?
Yeah, I have it. Let's see. I did, and I laughed. I laughed super hard. Yeah, Baron's text messages with her that went up to, can you put it back up, Phoenix? Says it all. She's mad at, she's made the MSM is, she's mad the MSM is no longer the gatekeepers. Yeah. Like I said, during court, when we were at Tyler Robinson's hearing, you could see the mainstream media and how they snubbed their nose. You could just feel it in the air. Did you get that impression too, that the media, not just the people who are asking us questions outside the courtroom, but the media going into the courtroom? What was your impression of them? And what kind of vibe did they give off to you, Brandy?
I didn't really talk with any of them for the most part besides Brandy, but they did they didn't have to sleep outside, right? They automatically had wristbands. And so I don't know. I guess maybe I could assume that they thought that they were better than us because they didn't have to sleep outside and wait in line for a wristband.
Peasants.
Right? Yeah. And I'm confused. Did Jack Posobiec and Benny and Brandon Tatum, they had wristbands that were for Turning Point USA. I don't think they had media wristbands.
Correct.
They had Erika wristbands. Yep. They all had a certain color. Then Tyler's family had a certain color. Media had a certain color. And then public had a certain color, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I just felt like even just the way they looked at us, they just seemed very snobbish. There was an older lady who was with the media, and she was very friendly. She seemed normal. She just looked at you with, looked at me with a smile and sincerity in her eyes. She didn't look as though she was looking down at us, on us. For, being dirty peasants outside with our tents in our tent city.
Our bougie homeless city.
Yeah. Okay.
Homeless people with laptops.
Right. Okay, let's look at Baron's here. what he said last night. Did you watch him last night, Brandy?
I actually watched him today because I didn't have a
Okay.
chance to last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just love it. Let's go, Biren.
There's a lot I don't trust the government on. And I'm thankful that there are independent people, independent voices that will jump online and share what they believe and share what they've found. What about COVID? Go back to COVID. You trust everything the government said? Safe and effective, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Trust the science. Anthony Fauci is science. Mask up, you psycho. I mean,
What do you bet that Brandy Z believes in all the COVID mess?
Well, she
probably still
literally
wears a
told
mask.
us that she doesn't believe any conspiracy theories regarding JFK. I
Mhm.
believe I asked her JFK, RFK, MLK, 9/11, and she was like, "No, I don't see the evidence of," and I'm like, "What?" And you're a
Yeah.
journalist. And you I guess you don't do any research then.
Yeah. Yes.
But
we
that's what
were
I remember her
baffled.
saying to me. I was like so taken aback by her going, "Yeah, I don't really believe in any conspiracy theories." And I was like, "Okay, what?"
She does believe
So you're
in-
paid by the elites who run the media corporations, who run you to say what they want you to say. So that's what you're saying, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't want to relitigate all these issues tonight. I don't have time to relitigate them all tonight. But do you just blatantly, blindly trust the government to get it right every single time? I don't. If I did, I'd move to North Korea or Cuba. I don't trust the government to get it right every time. I trust that people will jump on YouTube or Spotify or Rumble, and they'll cover some of these things. And they'll try to give you an idea of what they have uncovered. They'll get on X and they'll say, have you seen this picture? How much of what we've covered did we find the independent creators on X have come up with? People like Ali Topfiles, Muppet Masher, Blake Bednarz, Diligent Denizen. I mean, on and on. I'm not going to name them all because there's 1,000 of them. We've played stuff from all of them that they found that has helped illuminate what's going on in Utah. What happened on that day? We wouldn't know the security team sent Charlie up there to Utah, basically uncovered so that they could set up a tent. We covered that last night. We wouldn't know that, but for independent creators. Fox News isn't going to cover that. Fox News isn't going to cover that.
MSNOW isn't going to cover it.
No.
Oh, goodness gracious.
They don't cover anything.
Oh, no. Is that true?
No.
The only reason we find out all these little details is because of people like Candace and Barron and Ian and you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Without people like us doing more research into this, we would only be hearing the Fed slop, and they don't cover any of the little details that are now being brought to light that they have to defend themselves on.
Yeah, and the only boots on the ground they put their reporters, or the reporters go, is to debunk us or to demean us, people like us. You know, I know that there are other content creators. Joshua Carr, we'll get to that later in a little bit, who was also there, who Brandy Z shared her little conspiracy theory with there. But there are creators, she didn't mention any of those on her side of things, because they're out there doing the same thing and making a living, trying to make a living.
Exactly. They're doing that's a great point. They're doing the exact same thing that we are, but just on the opposite side.
Exactly.
So why is it okay for you, but not okay for us?
Exactly.
Oh, because you work for MSNOW, which literally no one even knows who you are. When she said MS, I'm like, what is that? She's like, it used to be MSNBC. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know anyone besides like my grandparents that watch like the actual news on TV. But okay. I bet you the only reason that video even has over 100,000 views, which I think it does now, is because people like us are watching it and sharing it. So you're welcome, Brandy Z, for the views.
You're welcome. Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. Yes, you're welcome. You jumped in on the bandwagon and you got your clicks. So, okay.
True. Is Blake Sneff in one of these nosy group chats? No. I've got to look at this.
Yes.
I've got to look at this. They found another one of these nosy group chats that's out there.
It'll get to what
trying
he
to
says
protect the world.
about Brandi here in a minute.
From Candace Owens, we've got Lisa Knows Nothing. Jen the producer. I'm not allowed to say Jen the producer's name. Not a real name, by the way. Not allowed to say. Oh, there's Gary, one of the only men in this group. Oh, goodness gracious. Here we go. We got a lot of. Is Blake Sneff really up? Blake Sneff in the flesh. Oh, that's great, Sneffy. This group operates at Blake Sneff speed.
Snuffleupagus.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. How many of these group chats are there dedicated to finding out the architecture of Candace Owens' kitchen? What kind of car she drives? This is weird, guys. It's weird.
Okay, I want to get to him talking about Brandi.
Sorry, not trying to make anyone feel old if I said no one listens to the mainstream media news. I watch Fox News occasionally to see what they're going to say. And sometimes I watch Gutfeld with like my mom and grandma because I think that it's funny. But I'm just saying, if you want to get accurate reporting, do not rely on MSNOW or Fox News or CNN because they're all bought and paid for. And they're only allowed to say what they're allowed to say. They're not going to give you the real truth that's all I'm trying to say.
No, and you're right. You know, the only reason that I got away from mainstream media is because younger people were telling me, quit watching that crap.
Mm-hmm.
They're lying to you. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm being lied to? I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, now we know. The more you know, Brandy Z. Okay, let's go.
Right now, person. I'm going to be polite.
Oh,
I'm going to be
shoot.
polite.
Did I just really? Okay, here we go. Okay, is it happening? What the heck? Sorry, guys. I'm not a professional.
It's okay.
Are we going to?
Barron still messes up too.
This is gonna make me mad.
What part are you trying to get to?
That's how closely I watch
right
this.
Here.
She
We're
does.
talking about her.
She does introduce your humble host here in a not so flattering way, but I will allow it. I will allow it.
Now with the mid-sized planets, they don't have an audience that Candace needs. Instead,
she just said that Candace doesn't need you guys. But I disagree.
Wait, and Mel's on there. Mel, and she doesn't do content. She tweets. She's on X, but she doesn't do content.
I think she's on there because Candace has mentioned Village Crazy Lady, which is her X account, so many times, and she has uncovered so many things. So I think that's why she probably made it on the circle list.
Yeah. Go Mel.
Wholeheartedly. Candace needs you.
they supply the fresh content to feed the overarching narrative. Guys like Baron Coleman, a lawyer and a former radio.
I think she had to try to get a picture that bad of me, by the way. I don't think she could have I guess she could have chosen a worse picture, but that's not ideal. I mean, if she would have asked, I would have sent her one.
Host whose show Owens calls the after party to hers. Coleman is a just asking questions guy. The word allegedly hangs on a sign behind him in his home office.
This part.
You got a problem with my sign? You've got a problem with my sign? All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I did not mean to interrupt her, but there it is.
Oh my God. His value comes in the holes he pokes in Tyler Robinson's criminal case.
Those aren't conspiracies. She's undermining her entire argument here. The holes I poke in Tyler Robinson's criminal case. If there are holes available to be poked in the case against him, Brandy, that's known as reasonable doubt. That's kind of the definition of a criminal trial here in these United States. I don't know about you guys in other countries. I know 30 90+% of our audience on any given night comes from outside of the United States. But and the way we do it here is the prosecution makes a case, and if you can poke holes in their case, the guy goes home. That's kind of what happens. So if you're accusing me of poking hole, if that's your big beef, I'm poking holes in the case against Tyler Robinson. That's kind of how news works. Brandy, you ought to try it for once.
Now, Coleman's pet theory, and it's maybe the most popular one, is that the rifle that prosecutors allege was used to shoot Kirk couldn't have done so because that gun was too powerful not to cause an exit wound.
The case was over. Tyler Robinson's not, I mean, in my opinion, not going to get convicted because that neck wound is so inconsistent with a gunshot.
Now, the prosecution...
That's not a pet theory. That's just fact. That's just, I mean, even some of the most strident critics of your humble host, the only reason I know those critics exist is because that was their pet theory. People like snipers and people who train snipers. That's also their pet theory. It's not a pet theory. It's just, if I shot you with a rocket launcher and it bounced off your chest and didn't go through you or didn't explode you, you might think that I actually didn't shoot you with a rocket launcher. If I, dropped a nuclear weapon on your house, or if that's what I was alleged to do. Baron Coleman, he dropped a nuke. He dropped a nuke right on my house. Well, can I see your house? Yeah, it's right over there. And there's like a little burn mark on the upper part of the attic. You probably could guess that I didn't actually drop a nuke. And if you tell me I shot you with a 30-06 in the neck and it looks like your neck just sort of opened up and didn't, as Jimmy Dore once said, blow a drive-through window out the back of it, then you could probably guess that I didn't actually shoot you with a 30-06. That's not a pet theory. That's just observation. Those are the skills of observation. Brandy Zadrozny of MSNOW.
Hasn't
Wait, it gets better. But check this out. You see a similarity.
Oh my God.
Wait, watch. They have the same glasses.
I've heard this comment a few times and I was dying laughing at it.
Oh God. Okay, here we go.
An autopsy into evidence, but
and that's not actually true. I'll back that up just to hear, because what she said is not true. I don't know how long she's been putting this together, but in my opinion, not going to get convicted because that neck wound is so inconsistent with a gunshot.
Now, the prosecution hasn't entered an autopsy into evidence,
but they actually have, Brandy. We saw it. We saw clips of it anyway. We heard a little summary read from the autopsy report that was in fact introduced into evidence at the preliminary hearing. So you're wrong, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge you for being wrong on one fact. I'm sure I've been wrong on a fact here and there.
But people close to Kirk, including his head of security, have said that the bullet was shot from a rooftop above, moved down, and fragmented inside Kirk's body. Coleman, without evidence, posits that instead of a gun, Kirk may have been killed by an explosive device hidden in a microphone or a necklace.
I don't know that I've ever posited that, have I? Have I ever posited that? I've speculated. I've wondered aloud. I've covered the possibilities. I don't know that I've ever posited that. I don't think you could go show a clip where I say, this is what happened, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people have. There are a lot of people that have their pet theories and they stick to them like glue. You know, if you go to Blake Bednar's and you say, what happened? He's going to say he was killed with an explosive from his necklace. Okay. If you go to John Bray, he's going to say he was killed with an explosive from the microphone. Okay. If you go to Baron Coleman, he's going to say, man, there's a lot of things out there. I don't know what happened. Something moved under his shirt. It was very inconsistent with a 30-06 wound. We need to keep looking into it because I don't think that we yet know what happened. But far be it from Brandy Zadrozny at MSNOW to let facts get in the way of a good hyperbolic rant on conspiracies.
Then we've got a...
And then she moves on. I got a little issue with that. I'm going to show you some text messages in a minute that gives you a little more of an issue. I want to watch how she covers John Bray here. I think what she does here is very unfair to John Bray.
Okay, I want to get to where he talks about.
Just, I'm going to do what I'm going to call on the prosecution to do in a minute. I'm just going to show it all. I'm going to open my Komodo and show you what I got.
I tried to talk to John Bray to check what I found.
Oh, those are his
Okay,
text
those are his
messages with
texts.
her.
Let's look at those.
From MS. Have a sec to talk today? I'll be honest, I'd never heard of MS. I thought she was talking about multiple sclerosis. I didn't know if she was like trying to raise money for a medical charity. No idea what she was talking about. No idea what MS means. Can you be more specific?
Wait, and he's a little bit older. He didn't even know.
Yeah.
Sorry, MSNOW. Used to be MSNBC. Used to be NBC News. I'm still getting used to it too. Ha, 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 ha. Roger got it. Happy to chat by text. Okay. Does that sound like I'm rebuffing her? I don't want to have anything to do with her. I'm refusing to be. No. Okay. Then she posts a recent article about Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Einstein. Great. Thanks. The short of it is that I've reported on Charlie and TPUSA for nearly a decade and think his death and the fracturing of his organization is one of the most notable events in recent memory. And to document it all, we're working on a narrative podcast that tells Kirk's story and documents to fallout from his assassination. Part of the FBI story, part of the story, excuse me, will have to be about the distrust in the FBI's handling of the case. Oh man, I didn't quite capture it all.
So this is Barron's text messages with Brandy Z.
I copy it down in a second, so I'll show you that. And the most readable, notable events in recent memory, and to document it all were, here it is. Yeah. Part of the story will have to be about the distrust in the FBI's handling of this case and the questions that you and so many others have been interrogating.
So after we go through the clips and talk a little bit more, we'll get to the audio from the courthouse that we have of her. And then I'll also share the messages that we exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reaching out to you and some others who have been authoritative in this space to see if you'd be willing to talk on the record or maybe be up for a kind of profile of you and your work. I'm less interested in trying to prove or disprove alternative theories. You're part of what I think of as the great splintering of modern media, and I'd love to talk with you about it. We're making several reporting trips the next 2 months, so we have some time if you're at all interested. Happy to answer any questions. Does that piece that she produced sound like that she is wanting to talk about the great splintering of modern media? Does it? Because it doesn't to me.
No, and I'd like to know who she contacted of the outer sphere of Candace's, world.
She's contacted me before, but it was very, very brief, like very brief.
Yeah. Was it just recently since the court hearing? Because she's been working for a couple of months on this.
No, so let's see. I texted her. So she left me a voicemail. Let me find it.
Really?
She left me a voicemail on May 26th.
Okay.
And she said, "Hey, Brandy, this is Brandy Zadrozny or whatever her last name is. I'm a reporter with MSNOW." Is that what it is?
No, but I like it. It's uglier. It's Zadrozny.
Zadrozny. Whatever. She said, "Hey, Brandy, this is Brandy Zadrozny. I'm a reporter with MSNOW. I'm just reading the transcript from the voice mail. I wanted to reach out to you because I'm working on this project about Charlie Kirk and his assassination, and I would love to talk with you about it. I reached out to Billy, but I don't think you guys are broadcasting together anymore. Happy to talk whenever is good for you. My number is whatever. Thanks. Bye." I didn't see that. And I'm not kidding. I get so many spam calls. It's ridiculous. So I always just send people to voicemail that I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I had a bunch of voicemails that I didn't listen to. And I was like looking through them to see which ones were spam. And I just saw in July that so I guess it was like a little bit over a month that I noticed that she left me a voicemail. So then I texted her on July 3rd and I said, "Hi, this is Brandi Siciliani. This is going to sound crazy, but I literally just saw your voicemail, LOL, about reporting on Charlie Kirk's assassination." She said, "I actually ended up getting a hold of Billy. She declined." And I said, "Oh, okay." Because I didn't want to talk to her anyways. So I just said, right. "Oh, okay." So she said, but I'm super interested about why you guys split up. Also, are you planning on being at the preliminary hearing this week? I'll be there. And I just said, yeah, I'll be there. And she said, okay, great. I'll text you and say hello if that's okay. And I said, of course, see you next week. So I'm always trying to be nice, you know?
Yeah.
And then I did see her in person and she came up to me and we talked and she was nice. And I just simply told her, if you're looking for some drama story about Billy and I, there is none. We just had different scheduling, you know, things going on and decided to just do our own podcast. That's what made sense to us. And that was kind of it. I think that she was looking for some type of like drama piece that she could add into this. And I was like, I can't give that to you. And I'm just glad I didn't really talk to her more because I feel like she just takes everything and spins it.
Yeah. She had her mind made up before going in, what she wanted to do and why. And so it makes me wonder who else she reached out to, and makes me kind of nervous what other, you know, what kind of other things are in the pipeline for her series. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a series, yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Okay, let's see what Baron. I really want to get to the part where he just goes off on her.
It doesn't to me at all. I've embedded some questions in your text above. So I copied her text and then in brackets, I put all my questions. So here's her open. I reported on Charlie and TPUSA for a decade. Can you send me a few representative articles of your reporting on Charlie and TPUSA? I just wanted to get an idea of what it was that she thought about Charlie Kirk and TPUSA. And think of his death, the fracturing of organizations, one of the most notable events of recent memory. Then me. Can you elaborate on what is notable about A, his death, B, the fracturing of his organization? On item B, can you send me documentation where TPUSA is fracturing? Hey, you know, I'm not going to take everything you say at face value. You're going to have to support your claims here. And to document it all, we're working on a narrative podcast that tells Kirk's story. Me, what is Kirk's story? His biography, his founding and leading of TPUSA, his death, and documents to fallout. Can you define fallout? That was me. Can you define fallout? What is the fallout you're talking about from the assassination? Part of the story will have to be about the distrust in the FBI's handling of the case. And then I comment in the brackets here. The case is being led by Utah authorities. Do you have parameters around what portion, if any, is being handled by the FBI? If so, can you share them so we can be on the same page? Guys, this is basic stuff. If you're going to claim that there's distrust in the FBI's handling, which part are they handling? I've got to know what's alleged to be distrusted here. And the questions that so I ask, what is your understanding of the scope of my questions? What questions am I asking? In other words, what claims are you wanting me to defend? And so many others have been interrogated. I'm reaching out to you and some others who've been authoritative in this space to see if you'd be willing to talk on the record. Bracket. I need to see the answers to my questions above to make sure we're operating on the same understanding of the work I've done to date before evaluating whether to participate in your effort.
He's next level.
No, because he's a lawyer. I love it. Yeah, I literally love it. Like,
it was perfect.
Brilliant. I learned so much from this text exchange of how to deal with reporters now.
Yes, how to engage. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfection.
Or maybe even be up for a kind of profile of you and your work. Bracket. All of my work is publicly available. I'm less interested in trying to prove or disprove alternative theories. Me. Bracket. Can you define alternative theories, and on what basis could you conclude they are alternative? You're part of what I think of as the great splintering of modern media. Me, how so? And I'd love to talk with you about it. My questions are bracketed. Happy to review your responses. That's right. You're a lawyer. We'll reply ASAP. When you see me heart something, that means I'm done talking for now until I hear back that on a different subject. Please stop responding. If you're ever in a text conversation with me and I heart something of yours, that's like, hey, we've had enough tonight. Let's go to bed.
Duly noted.
Not with each other. Just stop talking to me. That's kind of my, and she took it. She stopped talking. And then she responded. Sorry for the delay. I'm juggling assignments because of the Einstein drop. So regarding the podcast, we're still in early stages. And as we talk to people, more of the story will take shape. Happy to answer some of these, but I don't go into reporting with a fixed idea of what I find or the conclusion I draw.
Wait.
As I learn more, the story will reflect that.
Did she just say that? She doesn't go into a story with the conclusions. She just said that.
Yep.
And then she sent me a few
She
representative articles on her reporting on Charlie and TPUSA. Charlie talking about her, a video of her at TPUSA that went viral. And then she answered some other stuff. Can I elaborate what's notable about his death? I've written and believe that he could have been president. He was one of the most powerful figures in the MAGA movement. Without them, there has been a vacuum at TPUSA. Oh, Zadrozny. On that, we agree. On that, we agree, and I agreed back in February. I think TPUSA's fracture is evident in the recent firings, but also I've attended TPUSA events and talked to fans online, and the audience is not unified at all in their support. Oh, that didn't make it in your piece. You blamed Candace. Blake Neff quoted your piece and blamed Candace. Oh, wait a minute. I thought it was our fault. Some people thinking Erika shouldn't be leading because she's a woman. Others think more nefarious things. This isn't uncommon in big orgs that lose a leader. Brandy, all that was noticeably absent from your reporting when you were just hacking around on people who've been covering this case. And to document it all, we're working on a narrative podcast that tells Kirk's story. Yes, a profile of Kirk in life and death, and documents the fallout from his how his death has impacted TPUSA and the wider conservative movement. Will the org survive without CK as its leader? Will MAGA? And then she responds to some of these. The FBI was criticized for Patel's early posts, especially the texts. I'm aware that the Utah County Attorney's Office is handling, but the press conferences with Patel and Cox and Mike Smith and Jeff Gray muddled that fact for the general public. I believe I saw a post where you were calling for the FBI to investigate. What's your understanding of the scope? I've watched several of your videos. I'll watch them all if you decide you're interested in talking to me for the project, but I've seen ones where you say you don't think a bullet killed Charlie, and I've examined alternative methods, maybe as Mike. I've also seen videos where you seem to interrogate the theory that there was a cover-up by Kirk's inner circle. Okay, so you've seen a little bit. Alternative theories here, theories about outside the FBI and UCAOs that TR acted alone with a gun. Okay. How am I part of the great splintering of the modern media? Mainstream media used to be gatekeepers. Boy, do they long for the day that they can return to that. Because she's part of the mainstream media. She wants to be a gatekeeper. She wants to tell you what you are allowed to believe. She wants to tell you what you are allowed to read, what you're allowed to hear, what you're allowed to see. These people are so fundamentally dishonest in the way they come across. These people are so there was a time in the United States where if Walter Cronkite said it, it happened, and if he didn't, it did not. That time, ladies and gentlemen, has passed. Walter Cronkite is quite dead. He's been dead. All of the mainstream media has lost their gusto. They've lost their oomph.
And their credibility.
Oh, yeah.
And
they just lie about everything, and they have been for years and years and years. And now we finally have independent journalists or podcasters that dig into it and tell you the truth and present evidence that it's not factual. And they're like, oh no, we can't have that.
Yeah. The days of reading the news is over. It's been over.
Stand it. They hate that you are allowed to bypass them and get information. They can't stand it. Mainstream media used to be gatekeepers that provided information distilled from experts. Oh, it was the experts, ladies and gentlemen. They had suitcases, or they had briefcases in their hands. That's how we knew they were experts. Now,
that's the thing. This is the feeling that I have is we're not allowed, according to her, according to others in mainstream media, we're not allowed because we're not the experts. We didn't, necessarily go to school for journalism. We don't work for a network, even if it's MSNOW. We don't rate. And so then we have no right to get out and speak about it because we're the unschooled, unintelligent, uneducated ones.
Right? You're spot on with that statement. That's how they think.
Yep.
Oh, there are a million different places to get what serves as news. It's been happening, but especially since COVID, people are opting out of the old model and finding sources they trust to offer new perspectives outside of the official and mainstream. That's because you guys are liars. That's because you misrepresent what happened, just like you did in this piece. That's because you put words in my mouth that I never said, and people can go back and look, and they can ask me about it. They can contact me anytime they want and say, did you say this? No, in fact, I didn't say that. They can tune in and listen to me critique your piece. You're a hack, Brandy. You're a hack. And if you did this to me, how do I believe you did Trigger Smart right? How do I believe you did John Bray right? How do I believe you did Elizabeth Lane right? How do I believe you did Candace Owens right? Maybe I'm going to be the only one to release all the text, but I'm irritated by the fact that you acted like nobody wanted to cooperate with you, or most people didn't want to cooperate with you. Because watch how this ends. Watch how this conversation ends. I did go a week or so without responding. I think that was February 12th, and it was February 18th here, and I not responded. Checking on your interest, thanks. If you ever text me, you'll realize this is not uncommon, that I don't see texts. Going to put you down as a no, but please let me know if something changes. Sorry, been busy on the story. Last few shows have taken 18 to 20 hours per day to put together. You should watch them. Always advertising, ladies and gentlemen. Totally fine. If I misread you as disinterested, I'd love to talk. We have a couple more weeks before we need to lock down our travel schedule. But I get that you're on a different timeline, and I've watched a few of your episodes. That's why I'm reaching out to you. I can't keep up with all the content, though. It'd be a full-time job. And this is what I get just blatantly blunt with her. If I'm being completely honest, I'm skeptical of your objectivity and operate on the assumption you're going to produce a story that is negative to me and others doing what I'm doing. Admittedly, that's based on a limited and cursory review of your work and bio.
It was spot on.
Like Nostradamus here.
Nostradamus.
I'm like Nostradamus. I'm Edgar Casey. I'm looking into the future and I'm seeing what reality before it happens. I got a bad habit of being right. It happens a lot. That doesn't stop her from assuring me I'm wrong, even though I turn out to be right. But that's Brandy Zadrozny for you. I do get that. I obviously write about conspiracy theories and often critically, but this is how I covered Candace. And she posts a Candace article. There's a media story to me, though, not an attempt to debunk. I'm interested in you and others like I was in Candace in 2018. And I say 8 years ago, you might surprise me to the upside, but even calling something a conspiracy theory gives your thoughts on this. Guys, am I right or am I right? It's a bad habit. It's a bad habit, Zadrozny. I can see people like you from a mile away. I don't care what kind of niceties you say on text. I know who you are. I know the type of person you are. I didn't even see your glasses yet. I hadn't even seen your plastic framed aviators. And yet I knew. There's a reason people like Candace get more views daily than CNN primetime shows. I should have said MSNOW.
Yes, he should have.
They don't trust reporters who refer to conspiracy theories. I didn't call this a conspiracy theory. Oh, I said I report on them. So I get why you might be wary. But you did call it a conspiracy theory. You called them all conspiracy theories. You used the word conspiracy 38 times in 47 minutes. Zadrozny, you're not smart enough for this fight. You're not smart enough for this fight. You need to go back to covering people. I don't know who you covered in the past, but you can't do this.
Erika now, maybe.
MSNBC or whatever they're called these days should be ashamed that this woman works there. They should be
She did go to Turning Point.
Agreed.
We can talk about that
apologies
after.
for conflating the two. And I agree regarding Candace and CNN. That's what I find so interesting.
I want to get past
me. No, I didn't say that.
Just get
I don't know what Candace came already to. I can't say you new people. I've been a radio talk show host. And I'll give you a hint. She looks like she has 9 cats in her house. Aviator gal. Never followed up. Instead, she went and tried to find a picture. It's hard to make Elizabeth Lane look bad. But she found a picture of Elizabeth Lane like in between breaths or something.
She really did. Took the worst
You're not
photos
fair,
of everyone.
Brandy. You're deeply dishonest. You're a deeply, deeply dishonest human being. And lest you think that I am out of my mind for thinking that, and I am all alone on an island, let's just go through some of the comments, shall we?
Oh, these are great.
Because I think they're kind of interesting if you read them.
Yeah, these are good.
Here is a little bit of Brandy Zadrozny. These are the comments on this piece here. Wow, they're really freaking out. Good job, Candace. An autopsy report would answer all questions, but we'll never get that voluntarily. She really thought she ate with this. How embarrassing. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. George Orwell, 1984. The comment section did not disappoint. Ditch theory and reveal autopsy. The end. Mike and Mossad. I know. Let's use the exact same playbook we always use. Let's call them conspiracy theories and attack the people who don't believe the official narrative. Nissy Social jumps in and says, thanks for the shout out. And I like that one. OMG, the longer I watch, the more uncomfortable this woman makes me feel. Kind of spooky. I had no idea the Kennedy assassination footage wasn't seen in 12 years after his death. Wow, you should have listened to your humble host. I covered that one. The real conspiracy theory is the one painting Tyler as the lone gunman. It's not a conspiracy theory when it's an actual conspiracy, and on and on and on. Brandy, they don't believe you. You're a hack. You're an absolute hack. You should have followed up
she has
with
the same
me,
name as
and
me.
we could have had a decent
I feel like
conversation.
Barron's yelling at me.
But instead, you thought you would take a shot at me and call me a conspiracy theorist, put words in my mouth I've never said. And then go, I don't know, get a pat on the head from one of your tabbies?
Tabbies, a cat.
I don't, are they calicos? What are they,
The
Brandy?
calicos.
You got a Siamese cat? Maybe one of those hairless cats like Dr. Evil had? And your little aviators? I'm going to get those little conspiracy theorists. Yes, Mrs. Kittens. Yes, we're going to get them. We're going to call them conspiracy theorists. They won't see that coming. They've never been called
Kittens?
that before. They'll never know what hit them. My masters at MSNOW are going to be baffled by my mystique.
Oh,
Brandy, you're a joke. You're an absolute joke.
Oh, God.
I hate hearing that.
Next time you reach out to someone and they
Change
say,
your
sure, I'll be happy to
name.
chat. And then you're going to
Brandy
do a
with the
piece on them,
Y.
follow up. Follow up, you hack.
You hack.
Speaking of hacks, speaking of.
Wow. That was the good part I wanted to get to. Oh, yes. So, I'll do this one final clip of her at the courthouse on the final day of the preliminary hearing. And, my husband had looked at her. Well, he listened to some of the audio from the recording that we did, and he's like, she's unintelligent. She seems like she doesn't, know what she's talking about and doesn't even necessarily know what she believes, which was really an interesting take, I think. But
I feel like she may, I don't know her very well, obviously, but I feel like she's the type of person that maybe changes what she's going to say around specific people.
Well, it seems like she's always had it out for, well, yes, I think when she wants to get something, she'll say what she thinks she needs to say to get them to open up to her and tell her what she, what she can use later on. But it seems like
Right. And
she's
she
always
recorded our
gone
whole
after-
conversation. She immediately was like, can I record this? And Utah is a one person state, so they can record without your permission regardless. And that's why you started recording the conversation. And you told her, I'm going to record the conversation too.
I did.
So
yeah.
she was aware. I remember you saying that. I remember
Yeah.
seeing you say that to her.
Yeah. Yep. I did. Okay. Yes. Let's go. This. If we go like this.
And I haven't listened to this conversation since it actually happened in real life. So
Yeah.
is this our
And-
conversation?
This is her at the courthouse reporting on the final day of court. On
okay.
Friday.
Okay.
So this was her reporting. Let me take it off mute.
And that's it. The preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk back in September of 2025, is over. It ended with a pretty poignant scene, that of Erika being allowed to watch surveillance video footage that prosecutors had zoomed in on and enhanced with circles to show you sort of where to look. That really did show just a better view of what they say is Tyler Robinson scoping out UVU campus before the shooting and then climbing onto a rooftop and getting into a prone position before they say that he shot Charlie Kirk. Now, the last moment of the courtroom scene was Erika broke out into tears. She hugged her mother-in-law for a very, very long time. And with that, the judge said, that's the end, and we'll reconvene on September 1st. Now, we have a statement from Erika Kirk that ended with saying, nothing will ever undo the loss of our beloved Charlie. As this case moves into its next phase, she said, they pray that it will continue to be heard through a process that is fair, transparent, and grounded in the facts. That grounded in the facts is a very important clause, because all throughout this case, and even in the face of the facts that we've seen at this preliminary hearing, conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories have really blossomed. And so, we saw one bit of evidence in the hearing and a totally different story out in the real world. How that will play out, we'll see through the summer.
All right, joining me today on iHip News is entertainment executive turned.
I just think it's very interesting that earlier in Barron's, or maybe later in his video, from what we were shown, he plays clips, or maybe it was Candace that played a clip today, of the part in Brandy's video where she says that she went to Turning Point headquarters and they chose to remain off the record, but they spent hours with Brandy, and she said that they answered all of her questions, but it was off the record, so she can't put anything that they said in the video. Right. But she spent hours with them and answered all their questions, and from her perspective, they're a company that is struggling and trying to deal with this. Yet Charlie Kirk despised this Brandy girl. And she slandered Charlie's name as soon as he was assassinated. She said something along the lines of, well, Charlie fed into, allegedly, I'm just taking from what I heard. I'm not saying it verbatim, but she said something along the lines of, Charlie fed into conspiracy theories. So if Charlie was alive, he might be playing into the conspiracy theories around his death too. Why would Erika and Charlie's best friends that work at Turning Point, why would they allow this reporter that Charlie despised into their headquarters, sit her down and talk to her for hours? Especially when she's pro-trans and all that, she's leftist. And allegedly, right, according to Turning Point, a leftist transgender loving human took out Charlie Kirk. So why would they allow her in their headquarters to report on this? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right. So do you think they're using her, or do you think she's working for them? In your opinion?
In my opinion, I think that everyone in the mainstream media is trying to push the narrative that Tyler Robinson did that. And I think Turning Point is using anyone that they can that's going to be on their side to push that narrative. That's why Blake Neff today or yesterday pushed out the clip of Brandy's video and basically said that, this is all Candace's fault. This would be going smoothly if it wasn't for Candace, but was referencing Brandy's video.
Yeah.
Which if Charlie was alive and this was a different situation, I seriously doubt he would be referencing an MSNOW reporter, Brandy, who has talked shit on him so many times. I seriously doubt that. It's just very, very odd.
Yeah. To me, this goes toward evidence. It points toward evidence of the I hate saying this all the time, but it's so true. But the uniparty, like, it's not just the administration. It's not just Republicans and Democrats. There's a unified agenda on both sides. And
yeah, it's the elites that are controlling everything. We've woken up to it. It's not left versus right anymore, you guys. It's the elites. They're controlling us. They want us to be distracted by the left versus right bullshit. But it's really just they want to control all of us. Charlie was in their way. They had to eliminate him. Allegedly realized what was actually going on, and now they want to make us look like a bunch of crazy psychos. So Turning Point and the mainstream media are clearly teaming up now and trying to turn up this conspiracy theorist stuff and just trying to make us look dumb. But I think they look dumb. I think this video that this Brandy girl released it's just stupid. And she opened up with the biggest conspiracy theory of all time, JFK, which I would think a majority of Americans believe is a conspiracy. I don't think they believe the narrative. So I thought that was a really dumb conspiracy theory to open up with, because we're like, well, none of us believe the JFK narrative. So now you want us to believe the Charlie Kirk narrative? Like, okay. Good one, Brandy.
Yeah, she should have started with something else.
I don't know. But it's like we have JFK, we have RFK, we have MLK, we have 9/11, we have Epstein, we have COVID, and now you want us to believe that the Charlie Kirk narrative is real too? Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Do you think we're dumb? No.
Yeah. They're hoping we're dumb. They're hoping we're dumb. And I think they believe that they can change minds who are supporting this work, who are pulling away from the party, who are pulling away from the agenda of big tech, big business, big government. And I don't think it's going to work. The only demographic she's talking to that believes her are, like you said, the older generation, the generation that still believes the government and still believes mainstream media.
And it's not everyone that's older. I've gotten so much like shit in the comments before for saying that. I'm just speaking from my own experience of, some of my grandparents or my friends' grandparents that don't even really know how to use YouTube. And I'm not saying that's everyone. I'm not. I'm just saying that there are older people that don't know how to watch podcasters. So they turn on Fox News, they turn on CNN, and that's what they watch. Or you have people that are younger than grandparent age maybe, but they are just so dead set on certain people that they've listened to for years and years and years and years, and they can't even fathom that those people would be lying to them. And they're busy with work, or they're busy with their children or their grandchildren or whatever, and they don't have time to take a deep dive into actually look into other theories, or to get familiar with other people, other podcasters, let's just say, to listen to and to trust them. So they have just what they're used to. And they don't want to listen to anything else, and they don't care about what anyone else says. They're like, no, I've been listening to this person for 15 plus years and I trust them and I'm going to believe what they say. And that's what I'm saying about some of the older generations. But then there are some people, like I do have a grandma that's just turned 88, and I make her watch all these different people, and she's so open-minded to things, but then you have people that are like 55 that are like, no, I am not listening to any of this. But I'm just saying, I feel like the younger generations have so many different apps and things that they look at constantly. So they're constantly seeing different people and different viewpoints, and then they can kind of make decisions for themselves. So that's what I am referring to when I kind of reference maybe people, the older generation.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I'm of an older generation. I feel like, I come from that. Like I said, it's only because of younger people telling me to get away from mainstream media that I even knew this whole other alt news sphere existed. And I'm so glad, like, as you were sitting there talking, and I was remembering back to when I watched the Today Show, like religion, every day, that was one of the things that I watched. And I'm thinking, as you're speaking, I'm like, and thinking about these other people who are still stuck in that, how depressing. Like, that was a depressing life. And, you know, the information that I was getting, I did not feel like I felt asleep is really what I felt like. And I feel more awake than ever, than in a very long time, since being turned on to all news sources and truth tellers, which has been a couple years. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, even the only podcasts I really listened to were Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk Show, every day. And then I would listen to the Daily Wire, which Candace Owens was part of the Daily Wire at this point. I would also listen to Matt Walsh, would listen to Michael Knowles, sometimes would listen to Ben Shapiro, because I like to listen. I like to learn things all day. Yeah. Like, I don't like to listen to music unless I'm driving or getting ready or something. But at work, I would just, what's the next podcast? What's the next podcast? But Ben Shapiro, I'm not going to lie, sometimes would give me anxiety just because of how fast he would talk. So I'm like, I can't listen to this guy. But this is before Charlie Kirk got assassinated. So I like trusted these people. But then I would also watch Fox News because, you know, Fox News still aligned with what the podcasters were saying for the most part. Mm-hmm. But I think Charlie's death brought people to God, and it also woke people up to how effed up our world really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think that's when people kind of just like, whoa, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than I realized. And I think when people discovered that potentially, allegedly, our government and foreign governments were involved, it's like, we can't trust anything that the mainstream media is saying anymore.
Yeah. Like, and I think it was a combination of the JE files. The Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk.
That's where Trump lost me when he said, we're still talking about the e-files. Mm-hmm. I was like, I am so done with you. You have no idea. Because I voted for Trump 3 times. I did. Mm-hmm. Voted for him 3 times. I used to wear my MAGA hat to the airport. I was proud MAGA supporter. And, you know, after Charlie died and after he said, we're still talking about the e-files, I was like, I don't trust you at all anymore. I'm so done with this.
Right. And then it just keeps snowballing, because then we see everything that happened after Charlie and all the things the administration has done. So I think it's just snowballed, and it you know, it started, I think, with the e-files, then Charlie Kirk, and then everything is just rolling. So I think, if anything, what she did in her piece helped us, because, you know, that piece, and for people who still look at mainstream media, she's going to have the loyal audience who's still going to be, you know, balk at the generation and the people who are, you know, alt news, truth tellers, conspiracy theorists. But also it could light some sparks in people and go, oh, there's that. Let me go take a look. So I think it could help. Okay. So I think I'll get to the message that I sent to Brandy after we go over some of the recording. I don't think we'll do all of it. It's 29 minutes, but you can see from the jump that it's the first thing out of her mouth was her mind was made up. And so we'll play some of this. And now the audio isn't clear because I had a device. We weren't mic'd. I had a device when she was recording, and I saw what she was saying to my friends. Oh, look at John Bray entered the chat. John's here. Let's see. Let's add. Hello.
Is John gonna come on? Hey, what's up?
I got my internet back on. The power came on, but the internet was on the fritz, but it all came together.
Ours was giving us trouble too when we first started. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How you doing?
Good. It's good to see you guys again.
Yeah,
good to see you too. we had played some of Brandy's stuff and some of Baron's stuff, and we were talking about the thing that made me the most irritated about her report was the thing she was saying about you. What she was, the experts who decided they, didn't think that your theory had enough credence for them to even give the time of day to, that they didn't even dive in and look into it deeper. I was just, it told us the full story of what her network is all about.
Yeah,
how did you feel about it?
That's the whole purpose of why I make everything available. Like, I want people to critique it because I want it to be better. Like, if there's an expert out there that knows better and there's something wrong with the work, they should critique it and make it better. If they want their work not to be misrepresented, the best way to do that is to show where there's faults, and then show that's not accurately representing what they put out. Because in all reality, I've just taken their work and I've reproduced it in code. So, if they have a problem with it, then either they didn't explain their work well enough, or maybe I, misunderstood it, or there's problems in the code. But just saying that it's likely that the conclusion that I came to couldn't be supported by it, it's just, like you said, it's just brushing it off. Like, they should have at least took the opportunity to look at it. Like, they couldn't even be bothered to look far enough to see that I've never said that there wasn't a gunshot. I've always said that there was a shot, that there's clear evidence that there was a shot across the roof, and they just assume that because the theory is that the microphone was involved, that there was no gunshot, when that's not the case at all. It's never been the case. The gunshot,
because the shape charge is a shot in itself.
Yeah, and you couldn't just, if you just think about it, if they just set a detonated object underneath Charlie's shirt, everyone would know what was going on. There's no way that Tyler Robinson could have done that. They would have known it would have took some high level of sophistication to do that sort of thing. And somebody in TPUSA would have to know at least something about it for them to be able to, mount this device in the way they did. So they had to have a means to have a cover story. And the rifle shot was a way to cover the sound of the detonation. It was the way to cover the damage from the detonation. And it was very convenient that you could tie that to a lone wolf shooter that this whole leftist narrative could be tied into. And that was the first thing they fed. The very first things that we heard from the first witnesses was Charlie was shot in the chest. It hit his heart. He died right there. I'm pretty sure he was dead. Like, it was just like one person after another. Charlie was shot in the chest. I think he died right there. And then, before Charlie was even at the hospital, he was already declared dead by, the AV guy. And, he was saying the leftists killed Charlie. They killed Charlie. He might as well said that the left killed Charlie. They shot him right there. And Charlie wasn't even in the SUV all the way. And it was already the narrative was already rolling out. Like, there's no way you can explain that and reconcile that sort of that parroting. All the news networks were the leftists killed Charlie before we knew anything. They hadn't captured anyone yet. Like, it was already being crafted. That sort of phenomenon is just a psyop. Like, they were going ahead and feeding everyone with the cover story before we even had the patsy captured.
Yeah, it was very odd that there were people that were on the news saying exactly what you just said. Oh, he was shot right in the chest and the heart, and his chest started bleeding, and I think he died immediately. And then some of them even went back and changed their story. They were re-interviewed again.
Yeah,
and so,
in like an hour. It wasn't even like the next day. It was like an hour later. He hit in the neck. We saw the blood come out of the neck. Like, the same people an hour before were convinced that he died from a shot in the chest, and he died before he hit the ground, died right there. It's just, it's the same pattern that we see time and time again when we have one of these events that, it should be under scrutiny, and you have people that show up and just their interviews are strange, their mannerisms are strange, they use the same verbiage, they don't act like a person naturally, like in shock recounting what they saw. It's very scripted, and we've seen it before. I think people have caught on. We know the script, we know how these things happen. and the pattern fits, and we know the motive why they would want to do something like that to Charlie. And now that we look at it, in hindsight, we see exactly what they were planning. It's been how many trillions of dollars, and thousands of people have died in this Iranian quagmire. And it's the exact thing that Charlie warned us about. The exact things that he said was going to happen are happening. It's all the things that he was telling us of why we shouldn't do it are the things that we're suffering today. And if he was alive, he would be hammering those points, and would make it really, really difficult for anyone that want to continue on with these actions to do so and not face the consequences from a rational voice telling you that it was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, he'd be slamming this elitist mentality and this elitist attitude that they have, because that's what it was. Oh, you don't have PhD behind your name. Ugh, we can't bother with you. And she gives off the same vibe, the same impression.
Yeah, and it would be one thing if she was like some astute journalist or something, but she's like a librarian, former DJ. So it's like it's a pot calling the kettle black at some point.
She's
like
a former DJ.
Yeah, that's
She is.
she's a bartender DJ, I believe, a librarian, bartender, DJ. And she was trying to do interviews, very sly, throwing out the MSNOW, trying to say she's just interested in what's going on, and she wanted to see the personalities around it. But if you look up her previous work, she only does hit pieces. It's the only thing she's ever done.
Yeah.
So it's like, why no one took an interview from her? Because no one wanted a hit piece. Like, it's not that we didn't want to be interviewed or we didn't mind talking about. Everyone goes online. We go in spaces. We talk about everything. Like, it's you don't want a narrative crafted in the MSM, fashion where they take a few sound bites and they take key aspects of your life and then frame a narrative that fits what they want. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we everyone I'm sure that was contacted by her isn't surprised that this exactly is what happened, because that's all she does. Like, why is she going to change course all of a sudden? She's like a journalist assassin. She assassinates character.
Right.
And that's what she calls, or people call, Candace Owens that. It just really bothered me that she forgot to leave out the part that you also have a huge background in body armor and explosives, and she just calls you, John the farmer.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
it's pretty
leave
convenient.
Out key facts here.
Exactly. Like, I've developed technology to clean the very protective equipment that's used to protect people from injuries from these type of devices. Like, I have direct knowledge of these type of injuries because I was working with equipment that protects people from these type of injuries. So to me, like, it's more close to knowledge that's useful than people that make the devices that detonate, that makes the weapons. Like, they're just looking for specs to make these weapons. They're not really concerned with the injuries that are caused from them. And I was working with equipment that was protecting people from this. So we took data from every piece of equipment that we refurbished, and that went back, and that helped develop the next generation of equipment. So we saw what wasn't being used, what wasn't holding up to the field use, and they made it better. And some aspects of it they just stopped using because people weren't wearing them. But at some point, the amount of the cumbersome nature of protective equipment outweighs its ability to protect the person. So a lot of these especially the outer protective pieces that go over your shoulders, they just wouldn't wear because it's too hot, too cumbersome to wear. They would rather be quick and be able to get out of the way of danger than to have, like, a bomb suit on and be able to withstand anything and not be able to move and constantly be suffocating in heat. So like, this is things that you can only learn by handling the equipment and seeing what gets used, what doesn't get used, what survives, what doesn't. So, it was a valuable, though it was hard for our family. It wasn't very fruitful. It was very valuable in that I felt like as a citizen, I could best serve, with my knowledge, the people that were in most danger at that time. And it was these young men and women we were sending into Afghanistan and Iraq with little or no protection, you know, with these IEDs around every corner. It was a dangerous situation. And so, you know, I was just proud to be able to do my part and help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, she reached out to me several times. And like I said, she was very, it was kind of misleading the way she approached it. Like it took someone doing research on her to realize what her real intent was. She really tried to hide it, that she was just curious and trying to inform the public of what, you know, these independent researchers, what motivated them and why they were really looking into it. When if you look at her history and you really look at the patterns of her reporting, it was real easy to see that she was just there to assassinate the character of anybody that was doing anything outside the mainstream media. Basically was going to be attacked by her. And that's what we're seeing now. Like anybody has done any work that is of any substance is going to fall under the sights of these people. Like they're at the attack mode. They're past the laugh mode and ridicule mode. Now they're at the point where they're going to attack, and it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. So, you know, we should all prepare for it, but the cat's out of the bag. Like there's not much they can do to kind of wind it back. They've done such a poor job of exaggerating the evidence that they did have. And then they make such a big deal out of it, and they ridicule us before they even show it. And then we see the evidence and it's just a clown show. It's just like, you know, it's the opposite of what they made it seem. And so now you can put the pieces together when they tell you they have some, you know, they have them dead to rights. They have this, that, and the other. It's everything they don't mention is tells you what they don't have. So, you know, when they make a big deal out of little small insignificant details, that's because that's all they have. And it's probably blown out of proportion. It's a travesty that a young man is, you know, facing this sort of scrutiny for something that has such little evidence against them. You know, they've really railroaded this kid into this. And, you know, the next few weeks is just going to become more and more apparent that he was just a fall guy, that he was just set up for this. And, you know, there's little to no evidence that ties him to the actual crime.
Yeah, we were talking about how the mainstream media like Fox News, CNN, MSNOW, they only are going to tell the evidence that they want to, right? So like you were saying, they're only telling their audience the evidence that was shown against Tyler Robinson. They're not going into detail about the evidence that has a lot of questions, you know, going on surrounding that. And most people didn't watch the court hearings Monday through Friday for the whole 6 to 8 hours. So they're relying on the news reporters to give them all the information, but they don't. They just say, oh, there's overwhelming evidence that it's Tyler Robinson because of X, Y, and Z. But they don't tell you the other 10 pieces of evidence that point to Lance Twiggs or other people, or just in general, just not Tyler Robinson. And so, you know, there's people that I know that are like, well, isn't it just an overwhelming case against Tyler Robinson? Because that's what I heard. Well, no, because they're not being honest with you. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Like, stop watching the mainstream media. They don't tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's word games that they use. They use these words that have a high degree of confidence behind them. And they paint a narrative to make you think that they have all these things when in reality they don't have any of it. Like for instance, the fingerprints from the roof. They say we obtained DNA from smudge fingerprints on the roof. And you hear that and you think, wow, they have Tyler's DNA and they have his fingerprints on the roof. Like, this kid is guilty. But when you go and look at the actual facts, is they didn't obtain any fingerprints, or the fingerprints they had didn't match him, and the DNA isn't a match. So it's like, while what they said,
Robinson's fingerprints, like, what?
What they said was true. They obtained DNA from smudge fingerprints on the roof, but what they didn't say is the actual truth. And they just allow people to take that overwhelming evidence and apply it to the things that they mentioned after it, when in reality, it's actually overwhelming evidence that it wasn't Tyler. Like, if he G.I. Joe'd, you know, you know, with his kung fu grip from the edge of the roof, he would have left fingerprints. He would have left DNA. Like there would be something substantial to show that he was there. Like maybe even seeing a rifle on the roof. That would have been pretty substantial too. Like none of these things that would be required to prove without a reasonable doubt that Tyler Robinson took a shot from that roof that killed Charlie Kirk have been supplied, but they've been inferred in many different ways to the general public that they do have it. That's rock solid case. Overwhelming. That word has been used so much. Overwhelming. That's like the favorite adjective they have to explain the case. And it's not, it's underwhelming. Everything they have is underwhelming. When we get the details out of it, it's the opposite of what they're selling. And, you know, someone's life at stake. You would think they would take more care and the words that they use. You know, if a citizen were to go and do these type of slanderous things, we would face consequences from it. But you know, these networks can do it, and it seems like they just get a free pass. I just don't understand it.
Right. And I think it's funny that she quotes Brandolini's law that it states that the energy needed to refute nonsense is much greater than the energy needed to make it up, which is why we're out here doing that, because it takes the energy of all of us, all of the planets surrounding Candace and the moon, the sun and the moon. It
We're
takes
the planets.
so much more. It takes so much more energy to refute their nonsense, because that's Brandolini's law, whoever Brandolini is. But I find that ironic that she quoted that, and that's exactly what we're here doing.
Yeah, and it's the reliance on experts is such a worn out paradigm. It's the best way that you can control the narrative, because if you can control the expert and he goes and gives his opinion about something, he doesn't have to give any facts or any data to back it up. He gives his opinion, and that becomes the consensus. Oh, the expert said this, X, Y, and Z. And I think that COVID really showed that to everyone, that you could have people that may have been reliable in the past, but as soon as they become part of a larger instrument of the government, they're not reliable anymore. What they're telling you isn't of their own accord. It's not what they actually believe. They have to tell you what they're told to say. And it puts us in a position where we have to become our own experts. And we're lucky in the sense that the scientific method is built on validation of data, that you share your data, you share your methodology of how you come up with conclusions, and anybody can look at that. You don't have to be an expert to replicate what they've done. You can go and check it for yourself. And so, you know, it's very difficult for them to go and just craft a false narrative around a few experts, because it's so easy for someone that has any amount of knowledge about the subject matter to go and double check it and run it themselves and expose it, basically. And I think that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that from all walks of life that have different expertise from their experience, from their schooling, and they're able to basically, you know, put to task this false narrative that's being, you know, spun before us. And it's the emperor has no clothes, and it said it's the wizard that has no clothes now, where they used to be able to use this magic of this imperial knowledge to cast a spell over the public to make them believe anything, even things that were blatantly false. And now that ability's gone. We can strip them bare, and you see exactly what they see and understand exactly what they're trying to tell us, and we can tell if it's true or not. And so it puts them in a very difficult situation. And I think this is a result of that. They're trying to figure out how to counteract it. And one of the ways they have done it is to co-opt certain personalities and basically bring them into the fold and have them appear as independent, you know, influencers or podcasters or what have you. But the problem is, as soon as they come into the fold, they come into the influence of the mainstream media, they all start saying the exact same thing. And so it's so easy to recognize it, because the person had a free opinion before, understood who they were, how they thought, they said things that were unique to them, and then one day it just changes. All of a sudden, certain subject matters, they only say what the other people that think the same thing, and they're very you know, they get very flustered when someone goes against that, because it's difficult for someone to defend a subject matter that they don't truly believe in, because they don't have any foundation of beliefs around it. They were just given this belief and they have to defend it, but they have no structure to defend it with. So the only thing they can do is just make allegations and get upset and make it like a very dramatic ordeal to that, we're dishonoring the widow, or, it's a obstruction of justice, or, we're psych ops, or we're paid agents. All that is just because they have no beliefs themselves to back up the narrative that they're pushing now. They've been giving it and they have to defend it, but they have no tools to do so. And so that's why they all use the same verbiage, because they don't know how to go outside of that box, because it's not something they actually believe. It's not a position they can defend because they never thought through it. They just arrived there whenever they drank from the poison chalice of, taking that government check or whatever it is that they do to get these people to parrot this narrative, and it destroys them. Like you see someone that would be respectable beforehand, when people see that, there's no coming back from it. Like, that's why people are drawn to these independent podcasters, because they're authentic. They're different than the newscasters that all have the same scripts and they wear the same clothes and they talk in the same weird way. Like, it's an authentic person. You get to know them and you trust them. But once that trust is eroded, they're no better than the newscaster anymore. And I think they're starting to realize that now. And I don't know what their next move is going to be, but it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to come up with to try to resolve this issue that they have.
Yeah, and we all know that sorry, Teresa, just really quick, but I know that they all do have the same talking points, because they have those group chats that we've all seen now.
Yeah.
And same with the White House ballroom thing, how after the White House correspondents dinner shooting, they all mentioned the ballroom, right? So, Candace and Barron and I think Diligent Dennison have revealed those group chats with 90 plus people in them. And I'm sure that they're all saying, okay, let's all talk about this. Let's all post about this. And it's like, we notice it now. We know when you guys are all conjoined and, plotting together to post some narrative, because you all say the same exact thing. We don't. Like, I'll repost John's post or Teresa's post or piggyback off of it if I agree with it, but we're not all at the same moment posting the same thing, because we are authentic people.
Right. And I think, to both your points, that we are pulling back the curtain on that. The emperor has no clothes. We've pulled back the curtain. We're putting our work out there. Like you, John, you're putting your work out there in plain, simple to understand English, and not be hiding behind paid scientific papers that are written for all of the elite educated, and it's not needed anymore. And yeah, I think you're right. They're terrified. They're terrified of that. So yeah, I got this clip. Well, it's the full interview, but like I said, we'll just play some of it because it is long. I will post it, later if y'all want the full version. But this is how the conversation started. Again, the audio, John helped me clean up the audio the best we could. So it's not, we're not mic'd, so just bear with the audio and try to hear. The closed captioning is a little off because of that, but I wasn't going to go fix all that. You guys can hear, but here we go. Let me share this.
And this is the audio of me, you, Billy, Elizabeth sitting outside the courthouse talking to Brandy Z.
Yes.
Okay. And I haven't heard this since we did it in person, so I forgot exactly everything that was said.
And let me get us over here. Okay. Not to stage. Okay, here we go. And let's make that go.
3, 2, 1.
So have you come to a conclusion about why we are here with the creator economy?
No, I think it's multifaceted. I don't think there's one answer. No, I think anybody who's like money is like, I think there's
So she's saying there's not one answer. It's nuanced, is what she's saying to us here. There's not one answer. It's not just money, is what she said.
Long been the simmering like movement of distrust in institutions generally. I think it's a little bit fast forwarded that for like a million reasons. But,
there's a million reasons.
like, I think, you know, I think that there's a lot of reasons why we don't trust the world and it's just what people tell us. And I think that when you don't trust,
she's saying we don't trust the world. We don't trust what we're being told. And if you don't trust,
like how, like I'm a mom, right? So like I had birth in a pool, like I get all of that. Trustworthy figures over like people that you know and that you can identify what or remember or whatever. I also think in the like moment of social media, people who we work with are like brain away instead of, so like I had questions about my pregnancy or vaccines or whatever. I don't even get to go to my doctor. I don't have.
So she's talking about how we now have social media and we have each other where we are the experts and we can go and get into our groups, that she can't just go to her doctor whenever she wants. She can't just talk to her doctor wherever she wants. She goes to social media circles, and in the sense of like her pregnancy here.
Access to doctor most of the time, honestly, when I didn't have all the time, but I have access to it now. If I get any baby birthing communities and like those become my people. So like I think it's a lot of things that like has just sort of all similar to this moment. But I don't think it's also about culture, Alex Jones. I think it's some of these people that created.
Wait, I'm a little confused. Can you pause it? I don't think I was listening at this point of the conversation. I would think I was talking to maybe Billy or Elizabeth, and you were just talking to Brandy. So she's saying that. What about her pregnancy, that she doesn't trust in the media?
So
or
yeah,
what?
so I asked her what is her opinion of why we have this creator economy, and so she's going into saying, let me go like this. So she's going into saying, well, I think it's nuanced. I don't think it's just money. I think, there's a lot of different answers and we don't trust what we're being told. So she's like making herself, part of the we. And so she said, like, for me, when I'm pregnant, I can't get to my doctor all the time. I don't have access to the doctor all the time. So I go onto social media and I have my groups where I can ask questions about my pregnancy.
Got it. Okay.
And so that's the, we don't necessarily have to just wait for the doctor, or we don't just have to wait for the experts. We can go talk to our groups and get information that we need. So this is what she's saying. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Culture being part of the mainstream MAGA movement, how it's sort of like been embedded there. I can go on like a million days, but like I think there's a lot of things.
I mean, Trump was a conspiracy theorist,
100%.
and all your life.
So she thinks it's a million things that she could go on of why we're in the position that we are today, of relying more on alt media and content creaters.
Life. So you said you don't believe in conspiracy theories. So in your whole life, yeah.
Oh, no, just her.
Oh, okay. So that was my question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, is there not one thing that you felt like was a conspiracy theory, then was proven true, like later, and you were shocked?
Yeah. No, I think like the thing that just as a consumer, not as a journalist, was the like OxyContin Sackler stuff.
Yes.
Because like I was so crunchy.
OxyContin Sackler. I was
the
confused.
Sackler family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's talking about, so not as a journalist, but more as a consumer. She was really crunchy and she doesn't even take Tylenol or whatever, but she believed that this whole thing with the Sackler family and the push for OxyContin was a conspiracy thing that she did believe, or that she could
Which is
believe.
proven to be true now.
Yeah, but it wasn't that at that time.
I'm so crunchy generally that I don't take Advil.
But she doesn't take Advil.
I know in my head though, like as a journalist, I know that aspirin is fine. Like, I don't think there's like aspirin trying, but like, I can't get over it. It's just like a part of life, you know? Anyway, yeah, like there are conspiracy theories that I definitely think about and like give credence to. But as a journalist, I also think that like most conspiracy theories are like borne out and aren't they like
Yeah.
and definitely not like, just in my opinion, definitely not a secret like this that was includes the FBI, UVU, Tyler Perry, midwife, like everybody would have to be like in on it. Like,
So she's saying she doesn't believe in the Tyler Robinson theory because, or the the FBI being involved because so many people would have to be in on it that it just doesn't make sense.
that's the question I asked. And, like,
So that said, yeah, the JFK assassination. How do you feel about that?
So, like, I think that can be answered by like what I think about most of these like shooting stuff, including Butler. I tend to believe that messed up young men with access to guns sometimes do end up losing. And like, until I hear a compelling like evidence.
So she's saying that she thinks that, let me get this, sometimes young men who have access to information, sort of like she was saying, like Tyler or Lance Twiggs, that access to them can get them, from what I understand it, turned into killers.
I haven't heard anything. Well, that's real evidence for the theory, not just against everything else.
Yeah. So in the Tyler Robinson case, is there anything that, from what the story that we're being told by investigators, police, FBI, is there anything that made you think,
like the defense?
Yeah. Did you have any questions?
Weird things, but the one like plausible thing that people are saying that like maybe Lance is more involved than Tyler, and I'm totally open to that possibility.
So she's saying that that some people think maybe Lance, got Tyler into some bad stuff, and she thinks that's a possibility.
Oh, she's saying that she thinks that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be part of the conspiracy theory?
Yep.
Right? I read the thing that I found compelling was who's the creator, like Mr. Pickles or something? I'm forgetting his name.
Mr. Pickles. Have you guys heard of Mr. Pickles?
I have not.
No.
I don't know Mr. Pickles' work. I'll have to look that up.
Wait, can I make one comment really quick? Because I think this is confusing. Someone commented in your chat saying we should replace calling a horrible woman from Karen to a Brandy. And I said, let's not, LOL. But in my chat, that comment didn't show up. So I think people in my chat are confused that I'm saying let's not, LOL. So there's a chat in Teresa's chat that I was responding to, and it's not showing up in mine. So if you guys are confused by my comment, that's what I'm referring to. That's all I wanted to say. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. What happened? Okay.
But you had all the pictures and stuff from their apartment. Do you remember that?
No.
Somebody, I think like people or something, got like an interview with one of Lance and Tyler's old roommates, and like she gave him all these pictures of like crazy drawings that they apparently made, and told the story of like Lance kind of controlling Tyler.
Okay, so she's saying somebody interviewed Lance Twiggs' roommate, and that Lance was very controlling. So this is what she's wondering if there could be some truth to that Lance was controlling and more or less controlled Tyler or influenced him.
And I was like, that's one it was evidence. Like, we thought, verified it. Turkey Tom. Yeah. Okay. That was really compelling.
Oh, is it something Tom?
Turkey Tom?
Turkey Tom. So maybe it's not Mr. Pickles. But so I think maybe that's what she's talking about. Yeah, Turkey Tom or something she said.
Mm-hmm. You know, and like there's more to this. There's more to this story of the relationship between Tyler and Lance that I think needs to be told. Mm-hmm. Yeah. From the text messages that do read weird to, you know, what brought me there was like the prosecutor say, trying to get revenge on Charlie Kirk me as a chance.
I don't think these captions are correct.
No, they're really bad.
A Chinese text. Okay.
Yeah. But like Kelly thinks
controlling temperament, I think she was saying.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah. Do I think there's like a Jackson trap with her? No. I think he beat in on it. I think that there's a lot of blood on the grass that they couldn't get it out, and they had to open top of it, and the investigation was over. They didn't know what to do, and so dumb people did dumb things. I just think that completely explains everything. Like, instead of like, I don't see the people. Oh my God, I see a lot more dumb people. Anyway, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. No, very good. What? I don't even know. Sorry, Brandy. I'm Teresa. Yes.
Okay. So then we get into you know, a little more. We just said hello and did our introductions and that, but then at a certain point, when we were asking about JFK and all of that, we went into more detail. And she said she didn't believe any of that. And then she was talking about...
That's what I remember. I was like, you don't even believe in any conspiracies surrounding JFK or RFK, or I think I listed some other ones. And she was like, I mean, not really.
Yeah.
From what I
remember. She told a story about Umbrella Man. Did you guys ever hear about Umbrella Man? So she was talking about how there was a conspiracy theory around the assassination, and there was a man with an umbrella that closed or opened right at the time that he was shot. And so people thought, oh, umbrella, you know, he had something to do with it. And so, you know, it was a big mystery for a long time. And then years later, this man came out and he actually said, yeah, he had an umbrella, and it was like in protest or anything. But she was using that as a story of how she feels like conspiracy theories can just really take off.
And it was like in protest to JFK's father, I think. And that's why he had the black umbrella there when JFK got assassinated. But it was in protest to his father or something, but I don't remember regarding what specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. So my point in sharing this, and I think I'll try to clean it up the more if we can, but was that she came into it. She didn't ask Brandy. She didn't ask Billy. She didn't ask Elizabeth. She didn't ask me. I don't think she asked you, John. Why do you do this? What is your motivation? She didn't ask that one time. She came in just saying, you know, what was it she said at the very beginning?
What, that we were grifters? Or are you talking about in this?
To a conclusion about why we are here with the creator economy.
So why we're here with the creator economy, and then she began to rattle off a bunch of lies of what she thinks. So, but you know, she came into it with her mindset. It wasn't a true report, which we all
like
knew.
she already knew what she wanted to write before she came in on it. She was just trying to see if she could get any good quotes or anything like that. Like I had a Daily Mail person ask me, you know, like, what do you think about being called a grifter and things like that? And I just told this person straight up, money. I've lost money doing this. I have not made money doing this. And I do this because I love Charlie Kirk and I want to actually bring justice to him and find out what really happened to him. But no, she didn't ask us that once. She all she wanted to know was the dirt. What happened between this, and this? And it's like, in my opinion, she reached out to me and wanted information that would feed her hit piece.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a genuine article. She didn't want to ask me genuine questions about why I'm doing this, when I started doing this. It was just, what can I get from this girl that's going to feed my hit piece?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's what she was getting from doing to everybody. And, you know, Barron had her, had her pegged. John, you had her pegged. Brandy, you already had, experience with her, so you knew. I didn't. I didn't know. But as soon as I found out she did a hit piece on you guys, I wanted to turn it around. I didn't want her to ask you any more questions. So I jumped in and said, how about I ask you these things? So yeah, anyway, I had reached out to her on Instagram. I'll share this with you. Let me remove this. And I got this. Let me see. Okay. Hi, Brandy. I just finished watching the MSNOW segment claiming your Who Killed Charlie Kirk video, which was just released, is only the first in the series. Is that accurate? So I wanted to know, is it really just, is it a series, or, what's going on? Because in the MSNOW piece, he called it a series. He alluded to the fact that she's doing some more reporting and has more episodes coming out. I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of the overall slant of the report. It felt to me as though the conclusion had already been reached and the reporting was framed to support it. That said, there were parts of it that genuinely made me stop and think more deeply, and I appreciate anything that challenges me to examine my own views more carefully. I'd love to invite you here. Brandy and Elizabeth didn't know this. I'd love to invite you, Elizabeth and Brandy. Well, Elizabeth had an idea, but onto the show. She had an idea that I wanted to. Onto the show for an open, respectful conversation about all of this. To be clear, I haven't approached Elizabeth or Brandy about participating yet, so I don't want to imply that they've agreed. But based on my conversations and familiarity with their perspectives, I believe they would be open to it. My goal wouldn't be to stage a debate or an ambush. I would approach the discussion impartially, ask each of you the questions I think matter most, and give everyone the opportunity to fully explain and defend their perspective. I think you've raised valid points. I also believe people often labeled as conspiracy theorists have raised valid questions that deserve to be addressed thoughtfully rather than dismissed outright. I think there's a real value in bringing those perspectives together in a serious, good faith conversation, especially when people who disagree are actually willing to sit across from one another and talk. I may not come from traditional media, but I care deeply about getting to the truth, and I can promise you this would not become an attack session. It would be a fair, respectful discussion focused on understanding the arguments and evidence rather than scoring points. Would you consider it? I genuinely appreciate hearing your thoughts. Thank you. And then I gave her this too, so that she could go watch if she wanted to. I didn't ever expect that she would, just so she could see my style of interviewing. Hey, Teresa, I hope you are well. I can understand why you and others wouldn't like all the conclusions or any of them. The conclusions I came to in my reporting. I did see your spicy tweets from over the weekend. I don't really do spaces with creators. It doesn't serve the interests of reporting, and believe it or not, I really don't want to make myself the story. As I said to you all outside the court, I think y'all are important in this moment, not me. I don't think there is a large community of creators that want to debate this stuff with y'all. I'm just not one of them. Or I do think, sorry guys, a little hard for me to read. Okay, regardless, I've been on this beat a long time and I know how this cycle goes. So I'll expect to get yelled at on social for a little while yet, and that's fine. I wish you luck on your channel and endeavors. And if we meet again, maybe I'll see you at the courthouse for the trial. I'd be happy to revisit another conversation in the field, which you would again be more than welcome to record. Really, all the best to you. So at that point, in her talking about, hold on, I want to get back to where I was. At that point, her talking about the news cycle and that it would pass, I was like, wow, okay, so she's just about the news cycle. So I said, hi, Brandy. It was spicy, LOL. It would be on my YouTube channel, not Spaces. I don't like anonymous conversations or listeners. Regardless, anytime we put ourselves out there, we do become part of the story. That's the nature of the work, as your story demonstrates. One-way conversations get us nowhere. Yes, I agree. They do pass with the news cycle. But why are you in this business? Is it just for the news cycle? I hope you will consider it further. And she didn't answer. I actually was thinking she wouldn't answer. And so here was her reply today. I'm in this business to provide people with good information. I'm happy to talk about myself sitting with you outside the courtroom, and I'm okay with you posting it. I'd never say something to you that would be that I wouldn't feel comfortable posted on the internet, and don't begrudge you content. But we don't have the same goals. I don't need the engagement for my job. I don't get paid per click or per follower. And to be very honest, I don't want to contribute in any way to a network of creators that I think contributes to misleading the public and the targeting of innocent people. I've reported too long on harassment and violence that springs from these kind of conspiracist campaigns, and I think it's wrong. Having said that, I respect you as a person, and I don't take your posts about me personally. I'd like to believe your DMs are in good faith and your posts are part of the gig. All the best to you.
Okay.
Okay,
like, girl, you literally, Brandy with a Y, you literally come at all of us talking all nice. I'm not going to write a hit piece about you. You said the same thing to Candace, Barron, me, whatever. And then look at your fucking video. Sorry, I did not mean to cuss. She's just really, really irritating me. Your posts are just part of the gig. So your video is just part of the gig, but then your private messages are different. Like, what are you talking about? I can't stand this girl. I'm sorry.
And the news, the being part of the news cycle. Anyways, I said, one, you might be surprised by what I have to say too. Like it or not, engagement is baked into the fabric of the 21st century media. That's why you've created reels, shorts, and other digital content, and why your employer encourages your online presence. It also explains the clickbait title, Who Killed Charlie Kirk, when your report never actually explored that question.
Boom.
3. You get paid differently than
intended.
YouTubers. Right. You get paid differently than YouTubers, but you still get paid. If your reporting didn't resonate with your demographic, you wouldn't have a job. 4. Your biases show in your reporting just as much as everyone else's. Get back here. Why did it do that? It froze up on me, guys. I'll go. Darn it.
Technology.
Yeah. Let's go, guys. Come on.
All good. Your responses are great. I feel like I'm just going to ignore these people now. It's like they all have one goal.
Yeah. Your biases show in your reporting just as much as everyone else's. Your reports are framed and packaged around your own passions and beliefs. We believe differently, but ultimately we're each sharing what we believe to be an important message regardless of the packaging. Let me pause this. I got to take these comments off of here. There we go. That's exactly why we do what we do. 5, ultimately, our reporting satiates an appetite, not completely, but in part. That doesn't mean it's why we report what we report. It simply says more about the social climate in which we're reporting. Your report contributed immensely and strengthened the network within our demographic. The goal is always to reach new audiences, even in your sphere, isn't it? My DMs are in good faith. I believe open exchange matters, even when we see things differently.
And then she didn't respond.
And she didn't respond. So,
well, I think you responded very well.
Thank you. You know, there were parts in what she said that did make me think. And I think, you know, we're all better to, even though I fundamentally disagree with what she did, how she approached it, but there were certain aspects of it that did make me pause and think, and to be more responsible on my end and how I handle things and how, you know, how I approach things with honesty and integrity and always truth. But, you know, John, I think you're really, really good at that, and that you approach things in a very pragmatic way. I don't feel like you blow things up and you know, exaggerate things. I think you just share your findings and your beliefs, and you don't make it you don't make it any bigger or, you know, exploit it in any type of way at all. And you know, that part was good. The other part that made me think, guys, was the part where she had talked about Charlie Kirk, and that really I feel like she's mocking him and really saying, ha ha, look what you started. You started with these conspiracy theories. You're the one who did this. And now look at you, look at what's happening to your wife and to your company, and look how they're suffering. So I feel like it was a really gotcha moment to Charlie Kirk, which is really surprising why TPUSA would bring her in like they did, because she really was in mocking Charlie Kirk and really saying, look what you started and look what you deserve. You know, pretty much I feel like that's what she came and she's trying to imply is that he started this and now it's, you know, biting her in the ass.
Yeah, like objective thinking and debate is the poison to truth. Like,
yeah,
you know, we have to have an imperialistic, like a monolith of truth from the top down that spreads what we are allowed to talk about, and we can't think for ourselves and have open debate about it. I mean, I think that was my favorite thing about Charlie, is that he could take someone that had completely different beliefs than him and find a common ground and then build from that. And this approach is the exact opposite of that. It's taking the common ground and tearing it down by amplifying the differences and just, you know, putting a spotlight on where we think different and saying that's the poison of society, is this thing there's different between me and you. In reality, like, everyone's different. Like, we have to embrace where we're different and really and give each other respect and what we believe and our point of view, and weigh it honestly, and don't put your own like slant or perspective like too heavy. Allow it to really just, you know, take your ego out of it, of what you believe and what you hold on to as truth, and just weigh them, you know, together and see. Like, I've seen glimmers of Charlie haven't like be changed by the debate that he was having. Sometimes it would be a kid, but they would just have an experience in life or a bit of information that he didn't have before. And you could see when he took that information, he realized it was true. It changed him. Like, he was different from that point forward. And that's really the gift that we have, like, as society. Like, you can learn from anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody from a higher class than you or more educated than you. Like, I live around blue collar people that's worked their whole life, and they've taught me so much. You just have to be willing to have an open mind and realize that everyone has a gift to give, and it may be at the moment you need it most, and come from the most unsuspected places. But you have to be open to receive it, and it really takes judgment. You have to tamp it down and really just try to see the truth. Like, God speaks through us all in really mysterious ways. You just have to be really receptive to it and open to it. And, even like X, it's such a polarizing space, but there's so much good that can come from it too. You just have to be open to it.
Yeah, open to learn new information, open to even just consider it, just to let it roll around in your mind. Even if you end up dismissing it, taking the time to let it roll around in there so that you can come to a good conclusion. And actually, I think that builds confidence. That builds confidence in your own internal structure.
Yeah, understanding someone else's point of view makes your point of view stronger, because then you understand in detail where you see their flaws. And so that helps you not to make their own flaws in your own logic, because, we all have flawed logic. Nobody's perfect. And so, you can learn from someone's mistakes as much as you can learn from what they do correct. You just have to be really willing to dissect it. And like you said, let it kind of roll and resonate with you for a little while. It doesn't mean that you have to believe it, but you at least have to like give them the respect enough to try to understand it.
Yeah. I really came away with the impression of, you remember when Charlie died and there was people posting on the internet, they were cheering and laughing like, oh, he deserved it, for his views and that. That's really what I came away feeling is basically what she's trying to get at is they kind of deserve this because it's what Charlie started.
Yeah, I deal with it with my kids. When me and my wife talk about Charlie, my kids have such a negative view of Charlie, and we try to dissect it. Like, what did Charlie say that make you think that? Like, and it's always something completely false. They'll tell us something he said. We're like, oh, can you show us that? Can you show us what? And they'll come back, well, he didn't say that. He said this. But it just shows you how, a narrative of a person's character can be destroyed by just misrepresenting what they said. Just, the out of context or a few change of words, and that can spread. And without a person objectively looking at the truth of what that person actually believed and what that person said, they'll go away thinking for the rest of their life that person's, a nasty person that said hateful things, and they won't look twice at it. It just becomes a consensus. And so it's a very dangerous aspect of our society now, is that a lot of people live by sound bites. And
it's like the game of telephone. They're like, Charlie Kirk said this at this college event. And then the next person twists it. And then the next person twists it. And then the media twists it. And then everyone believes that Charlie Kirk said this when he really said something completely different. And it was totally taken out of context.
Yeah.
I've had that conversation so many times where people are like, Charlie Kirk was a racist and blah, blah. And I'm like, can you give me an example of what he said? And he's like, there's so many examples. I'm like, well, find one. And they can't.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and my kids still hold on to it. As it's been like 10 times with them each. They've done this, and they still hold on to the opinion that Charlie Kirk was a bad person, and we're just like,
it's okay. I have family members that think that Tyler Robinson acted alone, even though I send them on my podcast, and they're like, I don't have time to watch this, and I'm like, okay.
You just have to be patient.
You watch your Fox News.
Yeah, you have to be patient and know that everything has its season. People will come around to it. The work that we do lives forever. So it's even though it's not their season now, eventually they'll come around, and the truth will be revealed to them, and that truth will open doors to other truths. And it's how it happens. It's a snowball effect. You realize that you believed a lie. And once you come to that belief, you start to examine all the things that you believe. And one after another, you start to reveal lie after lie in your life. And that's how you arrive at the truth. It's not like everyone formulates perfect thoughts or perfect opinions on everything. Like, we all make bad opinions. We all have hot takes that aren't correct. It's just you have to be willing to go back and correct yourself and admit that you're wrong, and take someone else's opinion, dissect that, and take the truth from that and formulate your own idea of what truth is, because it's just a really objective thing. It's hard in life to go through and really discern what is true or false, because there's just so much twisted knowledge now that you just always have to be kind of cautious and always be aware that something that you believe could be wrong or false. It's just we're all susceptible to it. So, you know, as soon as you start to think that you're high and mighty and everything you think is right, it's almost guaranteed that you're on the wrong path. Like you're gonna have a hard, rude awakening at any moment, and it's gonna be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So, since I don't know if I even asked you this when you were on my show before, John, what is the reason that you do this work? That's the first part. What is the reason that you do it? And also, I'm interested to know if you got paid by the hour and you factor in all the hours you put into this case, how much would you be paid? How much would you make per hour with what you do?
So
or lost money. I mean,
as far as the why I do it, you know, it's really, it started as just an interest because it aligned with something I had general knowledge of. But then in that research, I ended up seeing a lot of Charlie's talks, and so he just started really speaking to me, and I started to respect him as a debater, as a father, and as a person in general. It's not to say that, you know, I believe I'm in agreement with everything that Charlie said, but the thing I liked about Charlie is that he was authentic, and I think that is probably the most important thing to be, especially when you're a public figure. It's something that's usually lost as soon as you start to get some fame. That's the first thing that's washed away from you. And he didn't ever lose that. He was always authentic, and you could see him evolving, and he was getting sharper. And so I gained a lot of respect for Charlie just by, you know, doing investigative work, trying to figure out, you know, it was really trying to figure out the mic thing of how when he first got the mic and when the mic started moving around. I ended up just watching a bunch of his videos. And so that combined with my kids having this bizarre opinion about him that wasn't true, it made me have empathy for Tyler Robinson also, but not Tyler Robinson, his parents, his grandparents, because I could easily see my kids being trapped in this sort of thing too, where, you know, they think they're doing something innocent. They think that they're, you know, playing a part in their crowd, and that, you know, they're doing the right thing, and they could just be going to an event and not realizing that they're being set up for be the fall person. So, you know, it's something that really, it made me realize I had to be much more careful in the media I allow my children to consume. We homeschool our kids, like they've never been to the doctor. It's such a controlled environment. But yeah, I started realizing that they have so many opinions that are completely outside of our sphere. So I realized that the shell that I thought I had, the insulation of the outside world, was completely broken just by a few devices. You know, and these devices we use to homeschool. So it's like they were introduced innocently to them, but they allowed them access to all these different opinions in the world, and they shaped them, and they shaped them outside of our control, outside of our morals and our philosophies. And I have no control over that. So it made me really feel vulnerable. And I realized that we're all dealing with this. Anybody that has a child in this modern world is going to be dealing with this. So it was really empathy for all parents, and empathy for Charlie as a parent. And now, you know, his kids not having their father around, that really keeps me going. And, you know, to see someone's child wrongly accused and punished for a crime they didn't commit, and at the same time, children not to have a father because of his political views, basically, that's heartbreaking to me. So it's just something that if I have the ability to do something about it, I'm going to do everything I can about it. And as far as like hours go, I do consulting work. If I was charging the same rates that I do for my consulting work, which involves a lot of the same thing, right? I do a lot of research, and I do calculations, analysis, develop technologies, and you know, script and code and means to process data. You know, I usually charge $150 an hour for my consultant work. So it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars that I would have charged if I was getting paid to do this. And as far as lost money, you know, that's all that energy that I spend on this is energy that I could be doing other projects, but I would rather do this than to do other projects. Like this has a much longer lasting effect than anything I could do in the fields that I work. So not that they're insignificant, but this affects everyone. I think that arriving at something close to the truth, even if it doesn't change the outcome, just the fact that we put this data out there and we make it apparent for anyone that has a interest in it, that they can arrive at the same truth that we all arrive at. That's a very powerful thing, and we're serving it as an example of how it can be done in the future. This is actually like crowdsourcing justice, where we don't just hand over the wheels of justice to the bureaucracy of the state to handle, and we just throw our fist up when we're frustrated about it. We take an active role in it, and we don't just sit back like mindless puppets and watch it happen and just get frustrated by the outcome of it. We take an active role in everything that we can do to find out data in and around it and dissect the data that we give us. That's a very powerful thing. That's while we're not experts and we don't have the tools and resources that the FBI or these large institutions have, we have more resources than we ever have, and we're more connected than we ever have. So we take advantage of those two aspects. I feel like we're more powerful of a force than any government institute. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We're out maneuvering, out researching, and our output is far greater than that of the institutions because they're just incompetent. It's so corrupted to the core, and the gears of the government are just so rusty that it just doesn't function correctly anymore. And I think that a ragtag group of individuals taking their life experiences and applying it is doing a better job at arriving at the truth than these government institutes that we pay trillions of dollars in our tax money to operate.
Yeah, and I think she fails to understand, and because I don't think she speaks this language, or they, I want to say they, the people who, that are connected in the same way, in the same fashion that she is. They don't understand. This is activism. Like, this is the front lines. This is where it's happening. We've taken the war here, like you said, John, it's digital. This is a digital war, and we're on the front lines, and we're activists. And yeah, so some people get paid a little bit, some people get paid a lot, but those people who are getting paid a lot, they put in, they grind, and some people you grind, and you don't even go live a ton that I can see. But this is more activism. This is more something done out of our passion and our heart for truth and for our fellow man, our next door neighbors and people across the street, because we know it's that important. It's far greater than what she wants to boil it down to.
Yeah, it's really about accountability. No one's held the government accountable. My whole life has been one lie, one conspiracy, one abuse of justice after another, and there's been no accountability. And I'm tired of it. I just want accountability. I want people that do evil to be exposed. I don't want to see them punished. I don't want. I'm not out here for a vendetta. I just want people to know that they're evil and to understand the evils of this world. And when we do that, we can see the demons around us and we can cast them out. But if you don't identify the demon, if you don't name the demon that's possessing you, and that's essentially what we have. Our society is possessed by a demon. And unless we name it and we call it out, we'll never be rid of it. We're always going to have all this ailment, and we'll wonder why and what we can do to fix it. But we just have to identify the evil and name it and cast it out. Be it, just stop engaging with it, stop giving it our attention, our power, and find something more wholesome and rewarding in your life to spend your energy doing. And they can mock it as much as they want, but I feel like being just a consumer of information versus being a producer of information, that's an empowering thing. Even if some people don't do the best with it, right? They take hot takes and they misrepresent things. Just taking that power of producing information for other people to consume, that's an empowering thing. That's taking the wheel We're not just passengers upon the propaganda machine anymore. We're going up to the driver's seat and we're taking the wheel. And we're trying to steer the direction of it. And that's why we have to do more of that. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to drift in whatever direction they want us to. And there'll be little or nothing we can do about it. But we've made a difference. We've come a long way. We started with Alex Jones. And now we have Candace Owens. So like, if you weigh those two, like, it's a quite a lot different. There's a lot more positive effect that comes from Candace Owens' works than came from Alex Jones' works. Not talking down on Alex Jones, like we had to start somewhere, but it's a different approach. It's more calculated. It's more precision strikes. And it's using the mechanisms of traditional media against themselves. They can't help themselves but to go in attack mode. So they're going to attack. So you give them a snippet and you let them attack on it. And then you already have the solution ready in queue to show that they're just liars and fools and don't know what they're talking about. And so it's like people see this over and over again. And slowly you start to turn the normies into people that are like, all right, I can't trust the media because they have just come out and attacked something 10 times in a row. And then the next week is proven to be absolutely true. At some point you lose confidence in that person. And that's what we're seeing. Like it's information warfare. And we have very keen and patient people with the right tools and the right people involved that are, spacing this out. And we're using the tendencies of our media system against itself, and it's working perfectly. And I don't see how it's going to stop working because they're ingrained in their ways. They can't change how they operate because it's such a big machine that it can't change direction very fast. So it's just going to continue for weeks and weeks. We're just going to see over and over again, something's going to come out and they're going to attack it. And it's going to be proven to be true without a reasonable doubt shortly thereafter. And it's just going to be egg on their face over and over again. And eventually that's going to wear on the psyche of the normal person. And we'll start to convert people slowly but surely. And once we reach that threshold, that hunter monkey effect, they won't have any power anymore. Nobody will believe anything that the mainstream media says.
Well, if we weren't making an effect, they wouldn't have Brandy Z do a whole hit piece on all of us because we'd be irrelevant. We'd be irrelevant jokes, irrelevant liars, and no one would be taking us seriously. But clearly, I think, in my opinion, the majority of the world agrees with us more than they agree with the mainstream narrative. And so they're freaking out. So they have to do stuff like this. They have to send Brandy Z on us and do this stupid hit piece on us that the whole comments are literally making fun of her in the entire piece.
So it's the fight you stage. We're at the last stage of it. It's just how far and how long they will drag this stage out. But it's a losing stage for them. Like they've already lost the game once they reach the fight you stage. They needed to stay at the laugh you and ridicule you stage, for us not to win. Like we already have them fighting us. They're on the ropes. Like it's just how long will they hold out for and how bloody will they get before they finally throw in the flag? That's what we don't know.
Yeah. And this work isn't for the faint of heart either. I mean, you put yourself out there and you take knocks. It's not like Brandy Z on X. She was saying, well, X isn't a place for journalists. Oh, this isn't a place for journalists. So I'll probably just, leave. And I'm like, oh, how nice for you. Look at, you can go do your hit piece and you want to run away. Other people, you're here. I've seen you take lumps very
wait, did she not have an X
gracefully
account?
No, she does. She was talking about leaving though because it's not
I'd love
for
to
journalists.
see her comments.
Yeah. But it's not for the faint of heart. The people take their knocks for doing this work, and with very little thank you outside of our sphere. We know that it's for the greater good. But look at her. She did her little piece, and people were coming at her, and she wanted to tuck tail and run.
That MSNOW check still cashing, still good.
That's it. It's she's getting paid with the news cycle, which is all that this was about for her. That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's pretty. I don't even think her heart's in it, really. Like,
no,
she could have been much cooler. I think she's probably in her heart of heart, she's a good she's a good person. But it's when you become a part of the establishment, it corrupts your way of thinking. And so before you know it, you become as corrupted as the institution you work for, regardless of how good you may be. It's just like we see with politicians. You know, a new politician comes around, they sound so good, they seem all good on paper. The longer they spend in government, the worse they are. It's just it erodes your soul.
And like if I was Brandy Z, not Brandy with an I, there's no way I could go after independent podcasters who felt a personal connection to Charlie Kirk and were devastated by his death. And I'm not saying that's all of them, but like, I know that's how Candace feels. That's how I feel. John, that seems like you were very impacted by, you know, his death too. And it's like, I was devastated when Charlie Kirk died. Devastated. I could not stop crying. Like I cried for 2 weeks, like just randomly all the time. And I did know Charlie personally, not super well, but I have met him before. We did follow each other on social media. I almost wanted to quit my job and work for Turning Point. Like he was not just some, oh, I can grab money from this. No, I was devastated by his death. That's why I started doing this. And I could not just be some reporter that just starts attacking these people online. And you don't even know their backstory. You don't know why they started doing this. And then you're just going to call them grifters. When you, Brandy with the Y, you're the one who has attacked Charlie, called him a conspiracy theorist, has attacked Turning Point in the past, allegedly, I believe so. You're a leftist. And then to go after people that actually cared about him and say that they're doing it for money, when you're literally getting money from doing exactly what you're doing right now. Like, it's just so disgusting to me. And that's the last thing I wanted to say about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys being here and talking about this. I appreciate everybody who came in to listen and to watch. Sorry that sound wasn't better. I do have transcripts. I'm thinking about posting those, but that's as good as I could get the sound. And also the Elizabeth Lane talking to her about the case and about, you know, Martin Luther or not JFK. But anyway, so I will go ahead and post that. But I appreciate you all being here to take a listen and being here, supporting your content creators, support John Bray, Brandy, and myself on all the socials, and keep sharing, keep talking, keep strong and keep supporting. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Of course. Thanks, guys. Okay, but we'll see you Friday. Actually, are you going to be able to come on Friday? I don't know. So
for the live stream,
yeah,
I'll try to.
Okay. Yeah. So for the debate on Friday, I'll be doing a live stream watch party. So you guys can come here. Didi got a podcast that he thinks he can come in and join that too. We'll keep score. We'll see who won what. And, you know, anybody else, if we're, you know, thinking about joining, you know, let me know. And we'll all meet.
Could you just do like a big live stream? That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So we can chat in here. So I enjoy that. So yeah, if you guys want to show up on Friday, I don't know. Did she announce a time today? I don't remember hearing it.
I don't think so yet, but yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll try to make it work because this sounds like a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And John, thank you. I'm so glad that you were able to come and your internet cooperated at the last.
Yeah, I'm glad my air conditioning came back on so I could sleep tonight.
Yes, I need it cold. What temperature do you like to sleep at?
It's preferably like 68. But
Same.
The way my thermostat in my house works, it's like the most inaccurate thing. So if I put it on 68, it'll like take our room to 62 before it cuts off. And so it's like I sleep with my 7-year-old. That's just how it ends up working. So he'll end up like running me off the edge of the bed. So I found that the magic number is 72 degrees. It gets our room about the perfect temp, and it doesn't get too hot in the middle of the night. So that's what we roll with, 72, which is higher than I typically
do is 72.
Yeah.
Oh, 72. Well, 72 is hot to me. So I set mine to start cooling off about 9 o'clock so that it does the same thing in our room, John. I'll set it to 68 out here, and in the room it'll get to like really cold to where, you need socks and sweats. But I sleep the best when I'm freezing. So yeah. Well, all right. Well, you guys have a good night. Have a good sleep, and we'll see you soon, and see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Right, thanks. See you.
All right. Bye, guys.
This is a better life, from scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof, to reach a better life, a better life with you. Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart, to reach a better life. Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call to reach a better life.